Kevin J. Johnston, the #1 name. In the land of the North, he's risen to fame. 40 years deep in the law he's read. Now the CRA shakes in fear and dread. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the fight doesn't end. Corporate debt, he'll make it all good. He's the man the CRA misunderstood. They vanish like mist when Kevin shows up with his legal fist. No more matching, no more lies, just clean-cut books and clear blue skies. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the rules start to bend. The CRA can scream and shout, but Kevin knows how to throw them out. They claim they've got the final say, but Kevin proves there's a better way. He fights for truth, he fights for you, and teaches what the courts won't do. Forever today. Let Kevin J. Johnston show you the way. The expert, the rebel, the man with a plan. He's saving this nation, one client per hand. He's got 40 years of tax law knowing and corporate skills that keep cash flowing. GST, payroll, all in line. He'll save your neck and every dime. He studied law, both civil crime, and makes tax code sound so sublime. With stand-up jokes and punchlines tight, he makes your seminar a night of light. Kevin J, CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J, taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin J. 2 million women cast their vote, said Kevin's hot, that's all she wrote. The suits at CRA can't compete, he's beaten them clean without deceit. 100 mil he's saved so far, he's raising truth like a legal star. And if you think you owe the state, he'll show you how to terminate. Kevin J, CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J, taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say
Kevin J. Johnston here. Welcome to the Tax and Money Show, episode number 119. The Tax and Money Show plays live, every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the Tax and Money Show.com. We are just going to be addressing all of your questions tonight, everybody. That is correct. We have lots of questions to go through. You have lots of questions. We've got Rumble. We have Twitch. We have YouTube. We've got Restream, TikTok. What else do we have? Facebook. We're on everything tonight. X.com. We're everywhere. We've culminated a whole bunch of your questions from all over the place. Yes, as I see your questions pop up on the screen, everybody, I will address them as I see them and get as many of your questions answered as we possibly can here. Let me just jump into the Rumble chat room right now. Rumble is pretty damn good platform. They've never taken a single solitary one of my videos down, so God bless them for that. YouTube has taken like 25 of my channels down, so you tell me which platform I'm going to give my time to. Albeit Rumble does not have the huge audience that YouTube has. Rumble is not a whole bunch of left-wing freaks that are absolutely destroying freedom of speech and freedom of expression and actual real medical information. That is why I despise YouTube in absolutely every way. Every time I tell the truth about medical, anything, they always flag the account, and you have to do about a 30-minute Q&A. Literally, if you talk about healthcare in a manner in which they don't like, which is everything that works, they make you do a questionnaire where they give you all kinds of examples about little Johnny wants to discuss that COVID thing with his sister Susan. And he says this. Now, is he right or is he wrong? And they're literally guiding you towards the fact that everything that's poisonous for a human being is good for you. I hate YouTube. I hate everybody at Google. I'm not really a fan of Mark Zuckerberg and his meta stuff either. But that's not why we're here. We're not here tonight to hear me complain about social media. I think everyone knows how I feel about social media. It's a necessary evil to do business, but I really do hate it. It has brought out the worst of the worst of the worst of humanity. Now, let's cover this for a quick second. I'm just going to make this one point, and I'm moving on to all your lovely questions here tonight. But I remember when Jordan Peterson was at his peak, back when Jack Dorsey ran Twitter, back when it was called Twitter. And he was saying that Twitter is just this absolute raving ball of rage, and it's 24 hours a day, and it never stops because you had the whole left-wing, right-wing thing. But Jack Dorsey, he was crazy. Jack Dorsey was literally out of his mind. So when Elon Musk comes in and buys it, he fires, all but 20 people? They're running the whole company off of 20 people, which gets you an idea of how useless the staff were at that company. And now that it's a very conservative and or right-wing platform, the lefties are in there crying, but everyone just attacks them. It's great. They've all moved over to Blue Sky and over to Threads. And I know this because, well, I would tell the truth on Threads, and wow, we'd have hundreds of comments every single day. And yes, everyone, I did hear that Canada's absolute psychopath, Bonnie Crombie, is running for mayor of Mississauga again. Hey, you're probably going to vote for her. And she's going to bankrupt the city, just like she put the city into a massive recession in the 8 years she was. I don't care. Canada's cooked. It doesn't matter. It does not matter anymore about what's going on there. My hometown is the city of Mississauga, and all you people out there are going to vote for this maniacal, narcissistic, self-centered, pro-pedo, nasty individual who has absolutely no intelligence whatsoever. You're going to vote for her, just like Toronto is going to vote for the same narcissistic maniac who's running Toronto now. There's some kind of mayor race going on right now, some by-election or something, and apparently the current mayor, Olivia Chow, who likes to walk around Toronto naked and drunk, well, you're going to vote for her too. And there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I can tell you it's a bad idea, but Canada's going to do it anyway. All right, guys, let's dive into your questions here. My staff went through X, Rumble, YouTube, TikTok, all of them, looking for some very serious questions. Who's going to win the Quebec election? Who cares? It doesn't. That place is crazy too. Actually, it's the worst out of all of them from the standpoint of the province of Quebec is not on common law like the other 9 provinces are. It's on civic law, which means Quebec does what it wants. You ever notice how crazy the entire Quebec government appears to be? It's because they just literally do what they want, and everybody capitulates. It doesn't matter. You're all here to learn how not to give in, how not to cave in to the crazies and the dummies who run your country. That's why you're here. Let's answer your questions now, shall we? Under wealth preservation category, number 1, my investment portfolio is worth approximately $8 million, with most of it invested in equities and commercial real estate. What percentage would you recommend allocating to Bitcoin, gold, and silver to preserve wealth over the next decade? That is excellent. That's an excellent question. First, I can tell you this. I carry now, I worked it out. I made a huge number of investments this week, a huge number. And I had to look at all of my bank accounts right across Canada, and I managed to, you ready for this, folks? As a man who's worth right now almost $3 million, I have literally $3,700 in the bank between 5 bank accounts because I just took it all and I invested all of it. So I bought, you guys know I love buying condominiums here in Panama. I bought another one, and of course I've got to pay the lawyer fees and whatnot, which really aren't that bad. And I bought a boatload of crypto again today. Donald Trump, about 3 weeks ago, made the announcement that he's going to tokenize the entire water supply of the USA, which means you can expect there to be, whichever network he decides to use, that crypto currency will fly up through the roof. And he's chosen the Solana network for that. So I say, I got about 100K sitting around doing nothing. It's not like I'm going to earn interest on it. And it's not like that money's going to have that kind of value in 2 weeks because the Canadian dollar is dropping by 1/8 of a penny every couple of days. So boom, I just bought 100 grand worth of Solana. And because I work with such amazing companies down here in Panama, it was a matter of a 5-minute bank transfer, kaboom, straight into crypto. Now let's talk about, I'm going to answer this question properly here. If you're holding personal property, personal assets in Canada, they all need to go into a numbered corporation. If you have commercial properties, the commercial properties need to be in numbered corporations, renting back their space to the operations corporation, all right? So if you're investing in commercial properties in Canada, man, it's really tough to say what cities right now are profitable and which ones aren't, because every major city in Canada is on the verge of going bankrupt. They truly are. But if you have commercial property and you have tenants, you need to have a holding company that all your rent and all your leasing income is going into. You got to make sure you completely separate that. Now, what would I recommend that you do at this point? I recommend that you hold only enough Canadian dollars to run your business. You don't need Canadian money anymore. You truly do not. You want to make sure that you are investing in crypto. Now, the crypto currencies that I'm currently involved in would be Bitcoin, obviously, because that's the new gold standard. Ethereum, because the millennials absolutely love to use it. It's easy to spend it online, especially for digital properties. Solana, as I just mentioned. XRP, because all the hype on XRP. If XRP goes to $5, I'm going to be an extremely wealthy man. And then we've got, what's the other one? We have, oh yes, Hyperliquid. I started getting into that one. That one is a complete privacy coin. Absolutely privacy coin. So I'm hoping that one goes to $2 in the next year or so. I bought quite a bit of that. So I'm completely into the crypto market. I believe in crypto. I would rather have crypto than even US dollars. I mean, give me US dollars over Canadian any day. First off, the money is just, it's purtier. It's nice. It's paper. It's that cotton paper. It's not that plastic saran wrap crap that we have in Canada. I can't stand plastic currency. I love the smell of U.S. currency. I like the fact that it's wider than it is high. Canadian money is kind of fatter. I don't like that. And I love the way it, when you flick it in your ear, I love how it sounds. I got a couple of clients here in Panama. They absolutely insist on paying cash. I love it. Say, okay, fine, guys, bring hundreds, lots of hundreds. And just to smell them is beautiful. But even though I love US dollars and the buying power that they have around the world, I would still rather take cryptocurrency. You got to spread between property, crypto, gold, silver. Gold and silver are not something you make money on right away. You don't buy gold and silver and then sell it tomorrow for a profit unless you're a retailer or someone who knows where to go to buy large amounts of it, but you're still only making a few bucks per ounce when you're selling it. No, you're buying gold and silver, you're hanging on to it for a decade, maybe 2, maybe 3, and probably handing that down to your kids so that there is some type of wealth in your household should the currency die. And I am predicting, just like I predicted everything else in the last 10 years, and I've been right on about 90% of what I predict, I am predicting the Canadian dollar is gone by the year 2032. It's history. It's out. They're going to replace it with either the US dollar, should Trump continue getting upset with Mark Carney and just takes what he wants, or the Canadian dollar drops in value so much they just decide to phase it out completely and replace it with the Chinese-style CBDC, central bank digital currency, which means if you've got that crap, they're completely in control of it. You get a speeding ticket, they just take the money. You get a parking ticket, they take the money. You get caught jaywalking, they take the money. Oh, and on top of all that, they will have your money expire. That's correct. So if you're on a central bank digital currency, folks, your money expires. As soon as a country goes to CBDC, out. You got to go. Just sell everything and get the hell out. Next. My family office is concerned about inflation, government debt, and currency devaluation. How would you position our portfolio to protect purchasing power while still achieving growth? Okay, well, I just told you what I would do with assets and how I would move money around. But if you've got a family business or a family office, doesn't matter what it is, if you're paying tax, you have nothing left to invest. All my clients who have corporations and family businesses and trucking companies, doctor's offices, whatever it might be, I put them into corporation clustering. That is correct. We cluster the companies. So your commerce company writes the invoices, brings the money in, the money gets moved to a holding company, and I make sure at the end of the year or every quarter or every month, if you're a bigger company, you do not pay tax. You just do not pay tax. Then I'm helping my clients get into crypto or buy property outside of Canada, or just in general, move their money into bank accounts. There is a bank in Mexico I'm dealing with right now. They're offering 12% interest if you put more than $1 million in the bank. That is $120,000 a year tax-free interest. Imagine that. You could live off that. You could live off the interest for the rest of your life, or at least until, the banking system crashes. Mexico, I don't know, man. They got a real weirdo in charge of that thing. She is out of her mind. She, like Carney, she wants to fight Trump. That's stupid. Why not work with Trump? Because he's going to kick your ass. And you don't have to like him, but you got to work with him. I'm always going to work with people that I don't like if there is a way to make a lot of money out of it. If working with someone I do not like saves me money and at the same time makes me money, I'll put the grudge aside. Who cares? My personal feelings on someone don't matter if that somebody is capable of making me a lot of money. And Mexico and Canada has the capacity to make a boatload of money, but we have left-wing fruitcake, communist nut jobs in charge. And when that happens, you've seen it. The oil wells get shut down. The natural resources do not get exploited. All the mines get shut down. They're talking about this thing called climate change, which is a hoax. They're talking about we have to fight against Russia with our Ukrainian brothers and sisters. In no way, shape, or form is Ukraine related to anything in North America. We have to support our sisters in Gaza or our sisters and brothers in Israel. Pick one. But nobody ever talks about the 30 now plus wars going on in Africa. I don't hear anybody saying, we need to side with our Lesotho brothers and sisters who currently are right now fighting with the contingents of black farmers in South Africa. No one talks about that. No one ever talks about Nigeria. Right now there's a three-way fight for power of that country between three states, or provinces, in that country. No one's talking about that. So the big thing here, folks, is that you're allowing the media to manipulate your mind into thinking that these problems around the world that we did not cause are somehow your problem, somehow your concern. And, give us more money, and you do that. So that is why I remove my clients from the entire taxation system. I don't want them putting money into any of that stuff. It's none of my business. All right? It's unfortunate these wars are taking place, but I didn't do it. You didn't do it. I can't stop it. And I've got the wisdom to know that there's nothing I can do to stop it. But I also have the wisdom to know that I'm not going to contribute to it at all. I don't pay tax. My clients don't pay tax. That's how you grow your company. I remove you from paying tax, period. Number 3, I have accumulated more wealth than I expect to spend in my lifetime. It's a good problem to have. How should I think different about wealth preservation versus wealth accumulation? First things first. If I had $500 million right now, that would not be enough. I would want to make more. And let's go with that. How would I protect $500 million? I would make sure that I had money in at least 20 countries, corporations in at least 20 countries, maybe more. I would have everything spread around. I would have my money tied up in property, because there are some countries out there, like Panama is a great example. There are countries out there that absolutely protect your right to private property. So in Panama here, when you get something on a deed, it's yours. Nobody can take it from you, not even after losing a lawsuit. It is yours, period. There are countries like that. So I would find countries like that and tie my money up in a whole bunch of real estate that I could then earn money on renting it out. Bank accounts would be in separate corporations in these countries. You'd have to have a pretty good spreadsheet, of course, that only you know about, that has all your bank account information on it. But that's what I would do. You know, crypto's great, but it can't be in your name. Put it in a corporation's name, or just shut up about it. You know, gold and silver, you want to store that somewhere, but really, who would know? Until you say, hey guys, check this out. I've got this hidden little room, you know, behind my door here. If you're not telling anyone that, no one's going to take it from you. And it's also, if you were to, let's say this, you're a billionaire, you're a billionaire, and you want to hide all of your stuff. You know what you do? You hide in plain sight. So you get yourself an apartment, you buy an apartment building, something small like 25 floors, and you rent out from floor 1 to about maybe floor 10. And the entire top half of the building, you cut off the elevators to it, you cut off the staircases to it, except for hidden staircases, and you can turn the upper part of that building into your bunker. Or better yet, you could turn the whole building into your bunker, where you can hide anything in any room of that place and nobody would know. You know, somebody who's going to break into a building is not going to break into every single room in that building. You can protect a lot. But I guess it depends on how much paperwork you want to do and how much you trust the lawyers, the paralegals, and your assistants who are setting up all these corporations and moving your money for you. I have not given anybody access to my bank accounts, so I still have to authorize and approve every expense that goes out the door. I don't think for a second, especially with the way people are these days, that I am going to turn banking over to someone else, unless, of course, I get super rich, at which point I would have a separate bank account specifically for that person to do everything for me, and then check their work every single day. All right. If your objective was preserving $25 million over multiple generations, how would you allocate that to precious metals versus digital assets? Okay, man. Well, you know, that is a good question, but it's the wrong question. Now, let me explain. Generational wealth typically disappears by the third generation after the wealth was actually earned in the first place. So let's say with the millions of dollars I'm making now, let's just say I can get it to half a billion bucks, which obviously is my goal. I get to $500 million. I teach my kids how this works. They have kids of their own. Hopefully they have lots before I'm too old to enjoy chatting with them. And then I teach those grandkids, here's how money works. And I would do it the way that Jews do it with their families. You know, they're harsh with their kids, man. But they're harsh with their kids so that their kids learn the reality of life. Here's how money works. Here's how money makes money. Here's how you hide money. Here's how you eliminate bad people from your life. Here's money, money, money. I love that. So I do not fault Jews for being good at business. I do what they do. I'm not Jewish, but I do what they do because it works. So this generational thing that you're talking about here, you got to train your family first. It doesn't matter if you have gold and property and cars and crypto, whatever else. If your grandkids have not been trained by you, the one who's making that income, it's going to be gone anyway. I mean, imagine an absolutely low IQ, irresponsible idiot being handed $25 million. It's going to be gone in no time. Yeah, I see this with professional basketball players, all right? Out of all of the sports out there, basketball, pro basketball players seem to be the absolute dumbest. They make the dumbest decisions when it comes to money. There is a friend of mine that I've known for quite some time. His job, he created this company where these young athletes, these young basketball players, they get these massive $25, $30, $40 million contracts for throwing something in the garbage. That's really, think about how crazy that is. But these guys don't want to wait the full 5 to 8 years to get that money in the door because they got to pay tax on it and so on. They want the fast cars now. They want the babes now. You know, they want the flash jewelry now. Like everybody wants to be Mr. T, just not as charming. You know, the fact is that this company that a friend of mine has opened up, he says, no problem, sign your contract over to me, and here's money. So if you got a $54 million contract, he will give you about $45 million. So he's already ahead of the game. And the team that employs this kid has no choice but to pay the contract, plus the kid's got to pay interest on that loan, right? Because if you've got that large contract, it's spread over those years. And he's telling me, you know, not one of these guys invests. They throw parties, they rent big houses, they rent yachts, they go on drug-fueled benders, they crash the cars they buy, they waste money. I said, well, it's good for you, because you're going to get the whole contract. He says, of course it's good for me. But that's where it starts, guys, is you need to teach your kids how money works. And I think I've made it very clear on my show many times that look, I love my parents, okay? They brought me into the world. I always ate. I always had clothing. But they had zero knowledge on how money works. And I mean none. They didn't know how society works. They didn't know how the law worked. They knew nothing except wake up, go to school, do your homework because your homework is really important. I'd ask why. Because it is. All right? So when you think like that, you're not going anywhere in life. I had to learn everything on my own because not only were they dumb, but my aunts and uncles were dumb. And every kid's parents on the street that I grew up on, to which there were many, they were dumb. They just didn't know money. I walked away. Now I know money. So it's my duty to ensure that all of my kin know how money works. And it's going to start with me telling them extremely painful stories from my past, some of which I've shared with you here, and you know, some of the happier stories of successes. And then, guys, go to work. You know, give a kid $100. Say, here, invest it in something. Open up a bank account. Show me that you can handle this. You know, play Monopoly with real money, and then watch how differently they play the game. You know, in the game of Monopoly, everyone just goes tap, 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 tap with their piece, and they buy whatever property they land on. Okay, great. But give them real money, and all the decisions become extremely fiscally conservative. You could start with that. There's another really good game. It's a Canadian board game from back when Canada was actually good. It's called Polyconomy. One where not only, it's like Monopoly, where it had major Canadian corporations all over the board that you could buy, but it also had an election cycle where somebody was the prime minister and you could call elections and whatnot. Get them playing games like that, but don't use the funny money, use real money. That's like, just start there. Get your children a bank account early, show them how it works, show them how to deposit, show them how interest works. The only problem is you're not going to earn interest in Canada, so you got to get them American, Mexican, Panamanian, Grenadian bank accounts and let them see how money grows, all right? But you got to ride their asses. Money is important. Social studies, not important. You know, gluing macaroni on paper with sparkles, that's not important. Fractions. When did any of you use fractions or long division? All right, the only time I ever used long division in my life after school was over is when I had to tutor my kids in it. And they kept asking me, why do they do this? I said, you know, it just to piss you off. Because this long division nonsense did not teach me how to think. It taught me how to despise everybody around me. That's all it did. So, guys, you know, keep your kids away from that nonsense and get them into money. Money, 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 money. I have a song. Here's my religion, all right? You guys, I'm sure, know the song by Peter Gabriel, Big Time. Every morning, I play it. Listen to the song for yourself, and you'll see why. You got to get them thinking about money all of the time. And I mean all the time. If you need to, glue a loonie or a $10 bill or something on their hand and tell them, you do what I say, you'll have hundreds of those. Alrighty. This one here is the business owner category. By the way, if you have questions, everybody, don't be shy. Tonight is all about answering questions. What I'm reading right here on this sheet of paper are a lot of questions that came in through TikTok, Rumble, YouTube, and so on. And I know that the audience is a bit smaller right now. There's got to be some kind of soccer game on. I've got no idea who's playing. I don't know. I don't care. So ask away, guys. Don't be shy. Business owner, my operating company generates approximately $5 million in annual profit, leaving substantial retained earnings. Does it make sense for the corporation to own Bitcoin or physical bullion rather than holding excess cash? Okay, first off, holding excess cash, I've already talked about this, dumb, because the Canadian dollar is worth nothing. It sucks, all right? It loses buying power every day. And inflation goes the other way. So the dollar's going down, but inflation's going up. So that's where you're getting crazy things like $10 bags of Doritos. You shouldn't eat those. I mean, I love them, but you shouldn't eat those. That's where you're paying $25 to $40 for like a 3-pound chicken, compared to the $2 chickens that I buy here. I can buy a whole chicken for $5 in Panama. That's where you're getting screwed, folks, all right? So this whole thing about your corporation, should the corporation hold gold and crypto? That's the question. No. But your holding company should. You take the money, the profits out of your operations company, put it all into your holding company, and the holding company buys gold, silver, I don't know. Let's say you get a deal on platinum. Who knows? Like, it's not as valuable as you think, but it's still pretty good. Crypto, if you're into the gems market, buy gems, get them all in there. Stocks, bonds, debentures, whatever it is. Whatever you got goes into the holding company. It's we refer to it as this. We need to deploy capital. Money, Canadian money especially, does nothing for you in the bank. Nothing. You'll just lose money with it. And like I told you all, I'm down to less than $4,000 in the bank as of today because I just decided to deploy everything. I deployed all my capital. It's making money now in crypto, in property, and in some really interesting investments, especially in the medical industry. That's what you do, folks. Invest your money, but do not ever own any property or investments at all in the same company in which you are doing business. Oh, there you go. John knows the trick. Verify the mouse so that he knows this is actually live and not pre-recorded and that I'm not intelligentsia artificial, all right? So, excellent. Thank you, John, for calling me out on that. Now, we could go one step further here, folks. We could also change the color of the sign behind me. There you go. How's that? How's that? AI cannot do that, all right? There we go. Oh, yeah, by the way, you can tell this thing is Chinese because when I hit blue on this little remote control, it goes purple. And when I hit purple, it turns blue. It doesn't matter. It works. I'm happy. All right, question there. What opportunities like from Canada to go to Panama to develop residential senior apartments? All right, Dustin, there's a lot of rules that are, they're not really stringent, but there are rules that actually allow you to do exactly what you talked about, and that's to build places that that's affordable for seniors. However, if you're going to get into the senior game, you do have to either A, be close to a hospital, or you actually have to have a nurse or 2 or 3 nurses on staff at all times. Now, that's not a really big deal. I'll tell you why. Because you can have a nurse working for you 6 days a week for about $25 a day. All right? So think about that, everyone. You could do that. Getting permits here is easy, but there are some neighborhoods that you're not allowed to build higher than 6 stories. Those, of course, would be the, what do you call that? The historical areas. But anywhere else, you could build 10,000 feet high if you wanted to. Wouldn't be a problem. So Dawson, you're doing old age homes right now. I'm sure they're highly profitable because I've seen some of them like $7, $8 grand a month. Yes, you wouldn't get that kind of money here, but at the same time, you wouldn't have the expenses here either. Things here are cheap. You know, in Panama, the electrical grid is stable compared to every other country in Latin America and Colombia and parts of most of Venezuela now. But do you know why? It's because the mob runs it. It's amazing. It is incredible that the government can't get a damn thing right. But the mob, they are the best electrical providers in Latin America. I say, good for them. I really don't care that I'm giving the mob, I don't know, like $90 a month for electricity. It's wonderful. Absolutely. How do you cash out an RSP without a penalty? Come September, you're going to go through me, and there'll be 0 penalty. What we're doing now, folks, is I've found a way, legally, to invest your RRSPs, your LIFs, your GICs, and your RIFs getting you 5% back for about 18 months to 2 years, and then we can cash you out completely tax-free. Not available yet because I've got one more hurdle to jump, but as soon as I'm ready, oh yeah, I am going to be a billionaire doing that because everybody wants it, and all the brokers out there are terrified to do it, and I'm not. What's the CRA going to do? You know what they tell you? Hey, you may be held accountable for the tax if you don't hold back the tax. Okay? And I may care and I may not. Most likely not. What are you going to do about it? I tell this, I ask the CRA this all the time. I'm not going to do what you say. I'm not going to help you enforce the Income Tax Act. I'm not going to cooperate with you in any way. What are you going to do about it? That's what I tell them. And of course, the answer is a resounding nothing. Alrighty, Dawson, asking because we're looking at Texas, but just wondering about Panama. Well, you'd probably do well with it. I'll tell you why. If you pick the right neighborhood where it's close to a mall, and the malls here are fabulous, close to a movie theater, which old folks love. If you have the service where, let's say, once or twice a month, you put them onto a cheap bus, which will cost you maybe $200 for the day, you could send them all to the beach. You know, it's just remarkable. Yeah, you'd make money. Nurses are $25 a day. Doctors are about $75 a day. You could have a doctor on staff for $75 a day. He would praise you for him to not have to go through all the rigmarole and the hard work in a hospital and work for you instead. Yes, it would be profitable. Absolutely. Is it true that it's possible to avoid liability if owed GST on payroll remittances? Yeah, you sell me your corporation. If any of you have a corporation and you owe payroll or you owe GST or HST, I buy the company from you in a share sale. I take everything over and you get to walk away completely tax-free. Let them chase me, not you. All right, Dawson, if you want to come down, just got to jump on my website and let me know through the contact form that you're coming down to prospect a business down here. I love doing business down here, by the way. And there's a lot of buildings you could buy really good prices right now, a lot. They're gentrifying the entire country. Panama's doing great right now. First off, the government's fantastic. The new president is wonderful. This guy loves foreign investment. He's bringing as much foreign investment here as he possibly can. He's made a deal with Brazil and Argentina so they can make better use of the Panama Canal, which means more money coming into the country. And the mayor of Panama City loves gringos, loves Trump, loves money, loves money. He loves money. He absolutely loves money, and he wants more of it here. So there's opportunities everywhere. And look, I told you, I'm here 2.25 years. I'm a millionaire. Why? Because Panama encourages thought, freedom of speech. They encourage ideas. They encourage investment. They will help you succeed here, as opposed to, like in Canada, get in your way every chance they get. So Jeff says, I own a small landscaping business. I'm not incorporated. Can I not pay HST? Well, yeah. You would just collect all the money in the world and keep your mouth closed about it, and that's that. You could do that. You could put $2,000 down per year on your tax return and send that in. And here's the other cool part. You don't even have to put your real signature on it. You can get the cat to sign it. You know, put a pen in the dog's mouth and just have them go like this and send it into them. That way it's not you. It's not your signature. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, you could do that, man. If you're running a small business and you're just barely getting by, why would you want to tell the government the truth? You don't have to. Every single solitary thing you put on a Canadian tax return is 100% voluntary. So I voluntarily give them the middle finger and don't put anything on there. You don't have to. If you're barely getting by, put down between $2,000 and $10,000 of earnings on your tax return and send it in. Tell them nothing. They don't deserve to know. Period. So the guy with the Habs logo says, if you don't, having done personal tax since 2019, the president government sends me bills to pay. I owe nothing. I haven't made a cent. My wife, same, no kids. What would you do if you live in Quebecistan? Yeah, I hate Quebec for that reason. All right, in Quebec, you are absolutely, according to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, allowed to live in Quebec, but be a resident of another province. What we do for our clients is we turn them into residents of the province of Ontario, even though they live in Quebec. And now Revenu Québec has absolutely nothing they can do to you or otherwise to take your money. So if you live in Quebec, Lord knows why, but you just need to be a resident of another province. And how do you do that? Well, you hide your Quebec driver's license in your pocket. You would take a photograph of it, front and back. You would then also get yourself a really crappy cell phone plan, like, one of those Fido plans or something. Put it to an Ontario address. That's now your evidence of living in Ontario. And you say, hi, I live in Ontario now. I'd like to get an Ontario driver's license. And they'll say, would you give, well, in the appropriate accent, because the two official languages of Canada are Punjabi and Arabic. They'll say, oh, yes, hello, yeah, you give it to me. And you'll say, what? And they'll repeat themselves 7 or 8 times. And then finally, you'll get to tell them that you don't have the original of your Quebec driver's license, and they'll say, okay, and then they give you an Ontario license, and there you go, folks. Now you're no longer a resident of Quebec, and Revenu Québec has nothing they can do to take money from you. All right, Warrior, to stand. All right, that's a good, Warrior's asking me to DM him for an idea, but I don't DM people, all right, folks? There are so many scammers out there that if you are talking to me through TikTok, it ain't me. It's one of those Nigerian scammers. It's not me. I do not message any of you at all through TikTok. I do not use Signal. I am not on WhatsApp calling all of you. I'm not going to give you my phone number and say, hey, text me so I can text you something and then ask you for money. If you're giving me money, it's going to be through my website only. And the only time that you give me money without speaking to me or my team is when you register for a consultation. And beyond that, you're speaking to me during the consultation. And then when I get the quotation and whatnot prepared, I send that to you. I call you, clarify what it means, and that's how we do business. So I do not DM people. If anybody wants to get a hold of me, it has to be through my website, right here, kevinjjohnston.com. And if you're on Rumble, it's right here. All right? Please use the website. Too many scammers do not use social media to contact me. Okay. Okay, Gangsta Baby. I'm not going to tell everybody the name of the bank in Mexico because I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist swine, as the left wing would call me. And I, of course, get cuts when people do it. So if I tell you, I'm screwing myself out of some dough here. But if anybody wants to have that bank account, do indeed let me know. Is it worth holding on to a Canadian house in my name when considering a Caribbean move? Not in your name, but in a numbered corporation's name. If you have a house that's somewhere that you can rent it out, and let's say you're close to paying it off, or it is paid off, then what you want to do is make sure you're getting some revenue on that and live life the real way. You don't make money selling property, people. You only make money by holding on to it and getting its increased value, but also renting it. You want to make sure that your property is making you money. My condos here in Panama, they all make me money. It's wonderful. You do the same thing. The odds of me selling any of my properties here in Panama are slim. I have sold one so far, but only because I wanted to get some capital in the door, to leverage the capital, to get more capital, to open a business, which I did. It was a cool condo. Actually, you guys could see it. I sold it, but I think it's on TikTok from maybe June of last year. It's a 3-bedroom place, technically 4. It has nice stained glass inside, stone floors, stone walls. Yeah, big window. You have a bar where you can sit and eat and just open the windows up and look downtown. It had a 5-level pool that you could kind of roll from one level to the next. Nice place. All right. There we go. What do you got? Falcon. Hi, Kevin. How you doing? I spoke with you in February. We got along well. You should remember me. I'm the black guy from the United Kingdom. Well, yeah. Hey, I'm one of those guys that doesn't say all black guys look the same. Of course I remember you. So, yes, you're waiting for your RCMP check. Yeah, you'll be waiting a while, man. Those guys are idiots, man. Those guys are absolute idiots. Actually, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police would not give me my criminal record check because you got to do it for going to any country around the world. Now, somebody asked me earlier, are you able to get into Panama with a criminal record? Yeah, if it's not murder, if it's not gun running. Every country in Latin America, South America, United States, Canada, you're not getting in if you're a gun runner. If you've done time for selling weapons or drugs, you're not getting in. you know, attempted murder, murder, second-degree murder, and that stuff, you're not getting in. But, you know, theft, you know, assault, whatever, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. It's a matter of if you do have stuff on your criminal record check, you want to make sure your lawyer knows that in advance. Now, I don't recommend this, but there's other ways to do it. For example, in Costa Rica and in Panama, you can enter the country and overstay your visa. You just overstay. There's no criminal charge for it. If you get caught, they may turf you, or the cop may ask you for a bribe, and you get to stay longer. So what you can do is after the 2 years are up, you would then go and pay a fine. In Costa Rica, I think it's $100 per month that you overstayed, and you can then use their national police force instead of the RCMP. And same thing in Panama, except they're $50 if you overstay your visa, and you can use the Policía Nacional as opposed to the RCMP. Because what they want to do is they will check. Every country in South America and Latin America does this. It's wherever you've lived for the last 2 years. That's the police force, the national police force, that they want to communicate with in relation to you being a good boy or a bad boy. That's how you do it. So no, having silly things on your criminal record is not going to hurt you. Someone asked me if my side hustle is comedian. There is a joke I want to crack on that, but TikTok will shut me down, so I got to just bite my tongue and, you know, make some facial expressions here. Okay. So King Stavino, I'm not too sure what you're trying to tell me there. Could you rephrase that, please? Okay. What if I'm facing financial hardship? Do I do fee waivers? Well, I don't know. We try to help where we can, but I'm not too sure what your situation is. Every situation is different. There are some folks who come to us who are so flat broke it's unreal, and there are some folks that are absolutely rich as hell, but they also don't like to pay bills. It's whatever, man. We got to see what your story is. By the way, Ronsk, thank you for the gifts right there. And one more thing. Why are we only at 8,500 likes? What? Guys, come on. 2 fingers. You know the game. 2 fingers on the screen. If you're watching on TikTok or Instagram or Kick, 2 fingers on the screen. Just get it going. The hearts should be right here, and they should be flying. Let's get them going here. And everyone on Rumble and YouTube and whatnot, if you're on X, retweet, re-X, flip it, subscribe, hit the button. Everyone, guys, ladies, gentlemen, you want to save money? You want to make money? All right, help me get out there so that all of us know how to not spend dough. Thank you for the hat. Appreciate that. Caribou Lou, I can't comment in the live chat. Parents in their late 80s. Lawyer who drew up the will advised not to put the section of land and property into a trust or corporation. I'm the executor. Once they pass, I can save their legacy before the government. What the hell? All right. Any lawyer that says do not put property into a corporation is trying to get you, especially when your parents are in their 80s, is trying to get you to use them as a probate lawyer. They're counting on the fact that you don't know what you're doing when your parents die, and that's that. So if your house is in a corporation, then you don't need to hire him for probate. What do I mean by that? Corporate bylaws. Whenever you put a house or a farm or commercial property into a numbered corporation, the person's will does not dictate nor does it govern what happens to that property upon death at all. The corporate bylaws do. So, line number 1 in the corporate bylaw would state that this corporation exists for the sole purpose of holding the property at 123 John Street. Next line down. This corporation and the property held within it cannot ever be put into probate as per all parties below who will sign. Done. Next. Then we state the property is a 3,000 square foot house. The original lot number is K14. It is 3,000 square feet, 2-car garage. You describe the entire house in there. The shareholders are, this guy. Social insurance number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And John Smith, 8344499, whatever. You list your names, dates of birth, and your social insurance numbers in that document as the shareholders. Then you just write the rules of how the house is going to be treated. So let's say you've got a farm there, Lou. So you would state in the corporate bylaws that, Lou, you get to live in the farmhouse and your brother gets the barn and your sister gets nothing. You could say that. Or you could say that we all live in the same house. You could even write it down in the corporate bylaws that everybody is required to sleep in the same bed and poo at the toilet in the same time. It's silly, but you can do it. Now, when I write corporate bylaws for people, I actually ask all kinds of questions about their family dynamics, such as, do you have a dog? Yes. Okay, good. Does the dog live in the house? Yes. Great. Who takes care of the dog? And they'll start to tell me, well, we're not sure. I said, okay, well, you're putting the house into a corporation. Everybody's going to make this gesture and swear I do to the rules of the house. So why don't we assign the caregiver for the dog now? Who shaves the dog in June when it gets hot? And who combs the dog out when the dog rolls in burrs or dirt? Who washes the dog? You got a cat? Great. Who changes the cat litter? Yeah. Who cleans the bathroom? You can put all of these rules into your corporate bylaws. But if your parents are in their 80s, caribou, we got to get the whole thing moved into a corporation immediately so that greedy lawyer, who's an idiot, honestly, he's an idiot telling you that, cannot get his hands on any of that stuff. Canadian lawyers are scum of the earth now. Why? ChatGPT, Perplexity.ai, DeepSeek.ai, Claude. These AIs are better lawyers than lawyers, if you know how to train them. The lawyers are broke in Canada. What are they doing? They are now pressuring people when loved ones die to just, put it in probate. I got this. I'm going to help you out. Yeah, they do this. And lawyers, especially some of a particular persuasion from a particular culture that scams all the time, they're just taking people's houses. Yeah, and they're taking your trust money and walking away with it. And they're saying, oh, I'm so sorry, I did not mean to do it. Yeah. But nobody stops them. They don't do jail time for it. So when you're taking your money and your property and your entire life and you're handing it over to a lawyer in their trust account, and that lawyer is broke, hasn't eaten in 2 weeks, is couch surfing on his friend's place because he's broke, he hasn't washed his suit in 9 weeks, he's going to take your money. So stay away from probate lawyers. Canadian lawyers, in general, they can all go to hell. They're all just a bunch of crybabies. And here's the worst part too, is I've had a lot of lawyers, and I'm going to write books about these people, but I've had a lot of lawyers, they don't like that I crack jokes about them. Now there's one guy who's, Kevin called me fat, like literally. He pursued me in the courts for 5 years because I called him fat. I mean, it was live on Facebook, but ultimately speaking, the people who saw it probably forgot about it. I mean, could you imagine having such a weak ego that you're bothered by this handsome devil here calling you fat? I mean, he was a rude, crass, vulgar, irritating little man. I mean, imagine being my height. I'm 5'6". So look at me now. I'm gonna stand back. This is what 205 pounds looks like. All right, at my height, 5'6". This lawyer was 300 pounds at my height, and he annoyed me. So I annoyed him back. I called him names, like schoolyard stuff. It was really it was funny, but it was childish. And he pursued me for all those years. You know, this guy spent more than $2 million in the courts trying to get me a prison sentence for calling him fat. What a loser. He knows who he is. He's probably watching right now. And don't worry. Hey, Huey, I found out where you live. I'm not coming, but you know what is coming. All righty. What do we got here? How easy is it to get citizenship in Panama? Well, if me and my legal team are getting residency for you, it's easy. 10 days, you're done. But once you become a permanent resident in Panama, you should learn Spanish because you have to pass a Spanish test, and you have to be a resident in good standing, don't break the law, for 5 years. And at the 5-year mark, you can say, hey, okay, I want to be a Panamanian citizen now. They will give you the Spanish test. They'll ask you about 20 questions about the history of Panama, simple stuff like, who did we separate from? Well, it's easy answer. First Colombia, and then Spain. Excellent. Yeah. What's the capital city? Oh, Panama City. What's the second biggest city? Oh, David. Which highway number cuts through the north part of Panama City? Oh, Passage Norte. Yes. Just memorize some basic stuff, and you're going to be fine. That passport, by the way, is good in the European Union without a visa. It's not good in former Eastern Bloc nations without a visa, but yeah, good enough. I mean, the Canadian passport's about to be devalued all around the world. It's not what it used to be, folks. Don't get too excited about having that stupid passport. Alrighty, let's have a look here. It's check the Rumble room for questions. Where did Rumble go? All right, Kevin, what do you think about a bear trust? Well, guys, trusts are great, but they're expensive, right? You're dropping 30, 40 grand to set up a trust. You don't need one. Everyone thinks you need a trust. Here's the problem with trusts is that people don't actually know how to use them, and they're not necessary. So you have a house. You have one house. You put the house into a numbered corporation, and like I mentioned earlier, we do really well-written bylaws for it, and that corporation now acts as the trust. You don't need to spend 40 grand with some loser lawyer who's going to do it wrong anyway. And trusts do have unrealized capital gains every 27 years. So yeah, they're going to give you a tax bill because they want to. So you got to remember, in year number 25, got to get a new trust. Move everything out of that trust and then shut down the trust. But they're still going to send you paperwork saying, please give us some money. You got to fight that in the courts. So trusts are okay. You know where you got to trust everybody? You got 5 to 10 houses, get a trust. Each one goes into its own corporation, and then you put all that into a trust. That's when it's necessary. Or let's say you're some kind of avid car collector like Jay Leno. Have you seen his that guy's got Duesenbergs, man. Those are like $2 million cars right now. Imagine a car, 12-cylinder car, you know, the old style from the 1920s. He's got some of those. So he would be wise to have a trust. Every car he owns that's worth more than $150,000 should be owned by an independent corporation, owned by an umbrella company, and then put inside of a trust. Okay. Is Alana real? No, I'm not sure what you're asking me there. 5403, could you rephrase that, please, if you don't mind? Okay. Yeah, everybody who wants to contact me, use the website address. My name, kevinjjohnston.com. I do not do any DMs. I will not be contacting you through Signal or through TikTok or anywhere else. Those are the scammers. Have fun with them if you want. Make them think you're going to give them money, but it ain't me. I am not asking for money through TikTok. I'm just not doing it. Or Instagram or Facebook. My website only. Okay, Diego says, I know a wealthy Canadian that could use your service, but you'd like the commission. Damn, man. Do it. Go to my website right now. Go to the contact form. Here, Diego Red Seal. I'll remember that. That's an easy one. Get me your phone number, get me your contact information, and then the commission's yours, dude. That's what we do. I love giving people commissions. You know why? Every time I give you dough, it means I made dough. I love making dough. I love giving commissions. I'm one of the rare ones that actually likes giving people money. I don't know. Maybe I was dropped on my head too many times. All right, next. Guy's asking me here, my corporation has over $10 million sitting in cash reserves. That's stupid. How would you diversify those reserves to reduce exposure to inflation? $10 million in cash? The only time you would have $10 million in cash in your bank account is if your company's worth about $500 million or more. You know, because $10 million is nothing to you. It's flash money. It's the kind of thing where you reach in your pocket, you do this, and a whole bunch of $1,000 bills pop up. Now, Canada no longer has those pink $1,000 bills. You know, they said money laundering was too easy with them. They were pink. So if you ever hear the term pinky, that's what a $1,000 bill was. But the Americans have it. So if you switch out like that, everyone goes, ooh, ah, he's rich. So if you've got 500 million bucks, you're probably smart enough to know you buy property, gold, silver, crypto, you sign contracts, you invest in businesses that actually make money, you invest in bank accounts that pay high interest. You would know that. But if you're someone who has, let's say, $20 million of net worth and you're holding half of that in cash, that's really stupid, especially if it's Canadian money. If anything, convert it to American dollars and put it into an American bank account. But I would still say that's also stupid because most U.S. bank accounts are 2, 3, 4% interest. Yeah, you got to get high interest, folks. You need to get something for your money. Crypto, I'm huge into it. You would buy some gold and silver for wealth retention, but not to make a quick buck. Property, you got 10 million bucks sitting in the bank. Buy property, rent it out. There's a few neighbors, not many. There's like 3 neighborhoods in Canada that I would consider buying houses in right now because they're pretty clean-cut neighborhoods, and I know that I can make money renting them out. So if I had 10 million bucks floating around doing absolutely nothing, I would probably buy 6 or 7 of these things, have them divided, basement apartment and the top 2 floors, and try to bring in about $50K in rent per house. Plus, you still have the house, right? You still have the value of the house. That's something. You gotta invest. Deploy capital. Do not hold 10 million bucks in a Canadian bank account. You know they're gonna take it from you. You know this. And it's not doing anything for you, my God. Number 8, would you recommend owning precious metals personally, corporately, or through a holding company? You could do it personal. Just shut up about it. Just shut up. Everybody talks. You phone your friends. You're not going to believe this. I just bought 8 ounces of gold, man. Well, now your friend knows you've got 8 ounces of gold in your house. And if it's Canadian money, that's $5,700 per ounce of gold. Times 8. No, he's got, what has he got? Times 8. You've got like almost 50 grand in gold just sitting inside your house. Why would you do that? You know who else is going to look at that? Is the CRA. Let's just say they audited you once in the past. They're absolutely looking at your social media now. You're bragging on social media about buying gold, then they're going to probably audit you again. And they're going to ask you to mark down all of your assets. And you know what blows my mind? From time to time, the CRA sends out what's called a desk audit. That's when the auditor's a big, fat, lazy slob and doesn't actually want to do their job. So they send out a letter saying, hey, you answer 15 pages of questions here about everything you own. Really? You're serious? Who's paying me for my time? But people fill this shit out. I am floored. When people come to me about their taxes, I've had this come up more than 100 times in the last year and a half, where people have a tax bill because they told the CRA that. What good do you think is going to come out of you telling the CRA what you have? You're not legally obligated to tell them a damn thing. They say that it's under penalty of something in the Income Tax Act. There's no punishment for you if you defy the Income Tax Act. That's not law. That's rules for the CRA. I don't give a crap what the CRA says. Why would you answer questions? So if you have gold or silver or lots of gems, platinum, even copper pressed coins now, that's a thing. If you're holding precious metals of any kind, shut up. Hide them. Do what John Wick does. Dig a hole in your concrete floor, put them in plastic, put them inside of a case, and then put them in concrete. There you are. Now no one knows. Just don't get Alzheimer's, okay? Because you're going to forget you have it. All right. Next. If I eventually sell my business, how would you invest $40 million of liquidity over the first 24 months? How would I do it? I'd make sure that all, you said 40 million bucks? Yeah, $40 million. I'd take all 40 million bucks out of the country the first day. If I had 40 million bucks on the sale of a corporation, hello, outside the country, fly straight, I would get a money order made in my own name. A bank draft, they call them in Canada. The Americans call it cashier's check. Go to the United States and go and open up a Chase bank account. They're good. Chase is good. In my own name. And say, oh, by the way, I'd like to deposit this check. And they're going to go like $40 million? Woo. And then from there, you've bought yourself time to think about what you're going to do. You open up a couple of corporations in the USA. You open up a couple of corporations in maybe Mexico. Start buying up some vacation properties and earning revenue on that. Definitely buy crypto. Just be quiet about it. If your plan is to continue living in Canada, which I don't recommend, then you want to buy some gold and some silver, and you want to hide it very, very well where you can get access to it. You know the dumbest thing you can do when you've got gold and silver is let somebody else hold it. People actually put stuff in bank, safety deposit boxes. People put stuff in bank safety deposit boxes. It never enters anybody's head to break their own concrete floor and put stuff in the concrete floor. No, why would I do that? That's weird. That's not what normal people do. Like, you're right. Normal, boring, uneducated people don't do that. They go get safety deposit boxes. And then the branch closes. Now what? Yeah. Now what? Or you die. And you didn't write it down in your will that you had one. Now what? The bank keeps what's in there, especially when you stop paying for it. My God. No. If you're buying gold and silver and gems and whatnot, you make sure that you're holding on to those things. Those are yours, not theirs. Interesting one here. How do wealthy entrepreneurs use alternative assets to diversify after selling a company? I don't know. Alternative assets? What's the difference between a main asset and an alternative asset? I guess like a wealthy guy who's got his entire act together and he's got corporations all over the world and money all over the world, he might look to diversify by buying stuff of value that he's never bought before. You know, but if the guy is a successful entrepreneur, he's going to know that cars are not investments unless it's a Duesenberg or, you know, maybe a Studebaker from the old days and it's running nice and smooth. You know, let's say you bought a Corvette Stingray for $100 grand, 1967, all right? And you clean it up, you modify it a bit, you sell it for 172. You've made $3 grand. Entrepreneurs don't look at alternative assets like that in that fashion, because to make $3,000 or $4,000 is not what they're looking to do, unless they could make $3,000 or $4,000 times 1,000, in which case, sure, you'll have their attention. So, I mean, billionaires are going to continue to do what billionaires do, and the wealthy will continue to do what the wealthy do. Hide their money in corporations. They are the owner of nothing on paper, but they control absolutely everything, and they keep making more money. They know what properties to buy. They know what investments to buy. They know what stocks and bonds are going to make money. They know which crypto tokens are set to go up. They know, in many cases, they've got insider information on the stock market or the government, and they'll make decisions based on that. You know, I can think like a billionaire because I want to be one, but the average person doesn't. So for me to sit here and tell you how billionaires really think, it would be disingenuous of me. It really would. And it's not going to help you get there. I would be more interested in answering questions that help you get from $0 to $1,000 and then from that to $100,000. You know, if you want to be a billionaire, it's a lot, like, first you got to be smart. You got to be educated. Somebody somewhere had to have taught you something to do with either money or investing or how to expand upon what you have. You had to make a lot of correct decisions in a row, which is luck. Not all, it is skill, but it's also luck. And that luck has to at some point become even more luck. Billionaires do not become billionaires because they're geniuses. We've got some rich clients that are very wealthy. Like, we're talking net worth over 100. And, you know, we've had jokes about this, saying, you know, you're kind of dumb, right? I joke with my clients like this all the time. Geniuses can get rich if they make 10 or 12 correct decisions in a row. Where geniuses lose their money is paying tax. That's how it is, folks. So to answer the rest of that question, the billionaires either A, don't pay tax because guys like me are doing their tax runs for them, or B, they pay very, 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 very little because they know how to shelter all of it. Alrighty, so let's have a look here. This is now a family office and legacy planning category, but let me just check the Rumble room first here for questions. Mike says, if I file 2024 taxes and report capital gains, can I and reported past tense capital gains, can I resubmit taxes again and not report capital gains? Will the Criminal Revenue Agency do anything? Yeah, they probably just won't let it go through. But what you could do is put down capital losses in that year. You know, your crypto got stolen. That's a capital loss. You bought an investment in the stock market and you lost it all. It's a capital loss. Anything that's stolen from you at all is a capital loss. All right. For those, all right, this irritates me, all right? Anybody who wants to meet a member of my staff, it's not going to happen. I have structured this business for maximum efficiency. Now, let me tell you what the least efficient thing in the world to do in business is. Sit down at a desk and have a meeting. It is extremely time consuming, and I'm not going to pay. I have 11 business partners now right across the country. I'm not paying for 11 different offices so that someone can feel good about themselves and go into an office and sit down and put their feet up on the desk and blah, blah, blah for an hour and a half. You know what I noticed? Is that when we do our meetings through Zoom or through any of the other software out there, people sit down, They're ready to go, and it's we get through it real fast. And at the end of the time, hey, listen, great talking to you. Quotation's coming today or tomorrow, and I'll follow up with you. Goodbye. And they carry on with their lives, and I move on to the next client. So absolutely not. If you want to meet me in person, though, there's a cost for it, which is my fee to sit with me for an hour in person. And, of course, your flight to get here and your hotel and your food. Oh, and you're buying if you're meeting me, so my food for one meal. Don't worry, guys. I'm not a big drinker, so it's not like when you're buying me dinner that I'm ordering 15 drinks and getting sloshed on $75 cups of whiskey. I hate whiskey. I really do. So for me, actually, I can't even eat like I used to in my teen years. I could usually pile in like 2 steaks and a bunch of fries. So for me, I don't do appetizers. I don't do desserts. I have an entree. Buying dinner for me, I'm a cheap date, is whatever the cost of that food is plus tax and tip. Tax rate on a $100 restaurant tab here in Panama is like $5, and tip is whatever you feel like giving. They don't pressure you. They just give you the Visa machine, and you can select tip or not. Your call entirely. So, getting to family, office, and legacy planning. My objective is to preserve wealth for my children and grandchildren over the next 50 years. How should cryptocurrency fit into that strategy? By buying a ton of it, an absolute ton of it now, all right? So for those who are watching this show in the future, today is the 14th of July, 2026. Currently, all crypto is down, and if people are panic selling, don't do that. It's all down. Now, Bitcoin was at something like 126,000 Canadian a little while ago. Now it's what, 86 or something? Don't panic, buy more. So what I would recommend is when the crypto market goes bare, where everything drops, buy. Like, woo, now's your chance. But no meme coins, no crap coins. Like, you do have to do some research. You should know what to invest your money in and what not. So for me, Bitcoin. My reason is because it's been around the longest, it's stable, and everybody wants to buy it and hang on to it. It is the gold standard. Bitcoin will eventually get to about 250,000 US per coin, and when it does, I will make a lot of money on that. Probably won't sell it, but I'll hang on to it. XRP, the hype is in place. If it goes to $5, I'm a very rich man. Excellent. Another one would be Quant. I'm hanging on to that one because developers use it. I'm hanging on to my Solana because with Trump's announcement to tokenize the American water system, all of it, they're using the Solana network for it. That's awesome. Right? Solana could go up to $1,000 a coin. If it does, then I will make literally 10 times my money on that. But if someone says, would you like to buy, I don't know, NFL Jacksonville Jaguar meme coins? Abso-freaking-lutely not. Not a chance in hell am I buying that kind of crap. So buy the good stuff, lots of it when the market's down. Buy none of it when the market's high. What are you going to do? Like Bitcoin goes to 250,000 bucks. You're going to pay that much money for one coin? No. What you would have to do is say, God dang it, I missed out. Buy property instead, rent it out. When Bitcoin drops, because crypto does this, just like every market does, it'll go back down, and that's when you buy. Don't buy high, buy low. Right now, folks, I told you guys, I paid 100 grand. I bought 100 grand worth of crypto today, just so that I could deploy my capital. I live by my own advice, and I'm hanging on to it. People ask me all the time, hey man, could you pay me in crypto? For me, no. No, I'm not paying you in crypto. You can pay me in crypto. I actually give 10% discounts on every service that I offer if you pay me in crypto. That's how much I love crypto. And let's just say my invoice to you was $1 million. You would literally save $100,000 if you paid in crypto. Like, I honor that 10% no matter how expensive it is. And I just don't spend it. So that's my advice on that question there. Buy low, don't sell high, unless it goes really high, like I'm talking stupid high. I did work it out that if XRP went to $1,000, like some of the crazy people are saying, it's not. But if it did, then my net worth would be slightly around $1 billion. I could probably retire comfortably with that kind of money. Maybe. Maybe. All right. Global economic concerns. This is a question. Government debt worldwide continues to increase. How does that influence your outlook for gold, silver, and Bitcoin? I mean, you guys are really into crypto tonight, huh? All right. So how does that... Own it. Crypto. Own it. All right? I'm going to give you an idea of how annoying the banks are. Canadian banks, irritating. Every time they see some transaction, like, $900, and they don't like it because it came from somewhere that they don't recognize, or so they say, they lock your account. They don't phone you saying, hi, this is Akbad Abdul Salim Salam Muhammad Farouk, whatever, and we shut down your bank account today, so your credit card's not going to work. They don't do that. They just shut it down. So, you're in the middle of nowhere, and you have dinner, and beep, card doesn't work. They do this crap all the time. Crypto doesn't do that at all. And if you're having fun with something like crypto.com, you could transfer a bit of Bitcoin to the Visa card they've got and just tap it, and you're paying for stuff. They're not shutting you down. You got to go into the branch. Actually, you know what I hate? You call them saying, hey, you guys locked my bank account. What the hell, man? I told you not to do that. They make up some stupid excuse, and they say, well, okay, we can help you. You guys, I'm sure you've all heard this. We can help you unlock your bank account right now, but I need you to tell me what the transaction was on May 3rd at 4:14 p.m. If you would unlock the bank account, I could get into the website and I could see it. How would you know this? What are the last 5 transactions you made? Yeah, I had dinner. I bought a T-shirt, I think. I don't know. I have no idea. And you cannot log into your account to find out. So Canadian banks do this stuff all the time. You should have lots and lots of crypto. Store a little bit in Binance, a little bit in crypto.com, a little bit in Kraken, most of it on hard wallets. If you get to the point where you're holding about $500,000 or more in crypto, you should have multiple hard wallets, not just one. Your Bitcoin goes on one, your XRP on another, your Solana on another, and so on. Don't you ever lose that 12 to 24 word phrase. You ain't getting it back. There's no way to hack these things, guys. You're just not getting it back. So be careful. Alexandra's saying, I have a numbered corporation. I owe $5,000 to the CRA. I need to open a new one. How much would that cost? I'm not entirely sure I understand what you're saying there. You've got $5,000 in debt. If it's only $5,000 in debt, well, I could wipe that out, no problem. It's going to be a lot cheaper to wipe out a $5,000 tax debt than for you to buy a new corporation. But could you clarify that for me, please, if you don't mind? Okay. Yeah, here we go. Jam is saying, I'm a little upset about having to pay the government $355,000 when my dad died and took over half. Okay, guys, when your parents die, do you know who the last person on the planet is you should tell? CRA. Second last, everybody else. All right? Here's what happens. A family member dies. What's the first thing everyone does? And you guys, you go on Facebook. Oh, dad just died. And you go on Twitter and you go everywhere else. You phone your friends. You phone your family. Why do you want sympathy and acknowledgement from people that don't matter inside your own household? That's the first mistake everybody makes. The next mistake everybody makes is hiding behind this excuse. I had a weak moment. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so upset. Control yourself. You're a freaking adult. All right? Whether you panic or not, your loved one is still dead. Whether you make a mistake or not, your loved one is still dead. I mean, it's unfortunate. It sucks. All right? Guys, I know. I've lost a lot of people in my life. I don't like it. I really don't like seeing people that I know lying in a casket. But that's life. One day, I'm going to be a corpse, all right? And it's life. Nothing I can do about it. So, everyone, what will happen now is that everyone does the taxes on their dead relative. Everybody cannot wait for some reason to fill out that stupid tax form. And everybody gets a lawyer, and they open up probate. As soon as you do that, the CRA knows everything. But here's the deal with that $355,000. The CRA just didn't go to your house and take it. They assessed you, and you gave it to them. That's what happens here. An assessment is just a wild guess. But here's the deal, everybody. You are allowed to be the executor for a very short while, empty the bank accounts with the death certificate, move all the property to numbered corporations, plate the cars in a different province if you have to. You drain every single account. If the credit cards are still valid, tap them right out. Buy whatever you need. Walmart gift cards so you have groceries for the rest of your life. Do all of that. Everything. And then remove yourself as the executor and just wait. Just wait. You know, do your dead relatives' taxes 3 to 5 years later. And you send a letter in saying, yeah, hey, listen, I forgot to mention it. You know, Dad was flying an airplane and a goose broke through the window and, you know, he crashed the plane on the side of the building, and when he fell in the pool, he couldn't swim, he drowned. Terribly sorry. And here's his final tax return. And put it down at 0. What are they going to do? Audit him? What are they going to do? Call you saying, well, you know, you need to prove it. Well, they might. But what do you say? Go fuck yourself. I'm not doing anything for you. You want me to do something for you? My hourly rate's $500. You can give me, with a 5-hour minimum, by the way. So transfer some dough to my account or get lost. They call you a second time, call the police. So everyone, your private lives, especially in today's crazy world, must remain private. Please stop talking about what you have inside your own homes. Stop it. And your dad dies. It's your time. You know, in the ancient days, when someone died, when the son of a leader died, even a general in the army or a king or an emperor or whatever, the opposing army who was attacking would give them 3 days to grieve. Take your 3 days. Grieve. Spend the time that it takes to work through the fact Dad's dead. You realize it. Man, you're upset. Cry your eyes out. That's what you're supposed to do. Grieve. Forget about the fucking paperwork, everybody. Yeah, the CRA is not important. These probate lawyers are not important. Every single human being outside of your grieving time is not important during your grieving time. That's where the mistakes get made. Stop being in a hurry to serve the government. The government's supposed to serve you, not vice versa. So please, everyone, stop talking about these things. If you've got somebody in your family who's sick and dying, make sure I'm your tax guy. You're not going to pay a penny. A penny. And by the way, Jam, nobody made you pay this money. You paid it. Nobody showed up at your front door with a loaded weapon pointed at you. They sent you a bill, they maybe threatened you on the phone, and you paid. It's called a bluff. It's like poker. And it's the same idea of, you know, some guy's got 4 of a kind, and I go all in, and I've got like a pair of 2s, and he decides to fold. That's on him. It's a bluff. Got to learn how to play poker, everybody. Mama Jess, how do I go about putting my house and my mother's house into corporations? Well, make me your tax guy. Right there, kevinjjohnston.com. We'll get you a corporation. We'll write the bylaws up, depending which province you're in. I've got lawyers right now in 3 different provinces that can get that done for you fast, which is just to take the corporate bylaws and the corporation and put those on title, not you on title. It's not that difficult. It truly is not. Beautiful lie. My mother did not do probate because she knew it was silly. Why when her only spouse was your father? Well, yeah, I guess these days it's kind of complicated with the crazy left-wing millennials having, like, you know, polyamorous relationships. You know, I actually never really considered that. You're in a polyamorous relationship, so you're married to Susan, but Susan's got 9 boyfriends, and you've got 3 girlfriends that are like German Shepherds. So what happens when somebody dies in that kind of relationship? Never considered it. I'm not going to consider it. I'm staying away from that. Alrighty. Spanish is hard. You know what? I've been in Panama for 2¼ years. I speak about maybe 500 words of Spanish, but that's on me. I spend all my time continually upping my skills when it comes to taxes, so I have chosen not to spend a lot of time learning Spanish. But because people in Panama love to party, you know, and they like seeing the white-skinned gringo fumbling through Spanish, you're fine. Doesn't matter. There's always somebody around who speaks English, and Google translates there, and the translation software out there just keeps getting better. It will eventually be in real time. There you go. Can I set up a trust for free? You could probably set up a trust for free. I wouldn't set one up for free. No, I charge for my services, just for the record. All right. If CRA puts a lien on your property, can you still put it into a corporation? Yes, but the lien stays. What you have to do is sue the CRA. You guys, it's fraud. because they probably went to federal civil court for that and didn't serve you with documentation that they were going to try to get this ex parte nonsense put on your property. Sue them for fraud, and then you file a motion in your provincial court to have the lien lifted pending the outcome of the lawsuit. Now, that's about a 50-50 strategy. And then find out who the individual was that actually put the lien there in the first place, and let's go put liens on their property and charge them with fraud. Make their lives very, very miserable. Okay, I checked out your website, Grace Consulting, looking forward. Thank you very much, Warrior, appreciate that. Which people should crypto buy? My favorites, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, XLM, Hyperliquid, Quant, Solana. I do take payment in Litecoin, but I usually flip it back into Bitcoin. I don't waste my time with Kronos anymore. I bought enough Kronos to be able to get the Obsidian credit card through crypto.com, and then I traded most of it in. What else? What else would be good? I think I said Hyperliquid. So, Quant. Yeah, Quant. There's another good one. You're finally making good money, but the CRA wants you to send in things quarterly. So we send off a legal letter to the CRA saying that we will do quarterly if they are willing to issue a credit for your time of $50,000. They will decline that, and then we'll say, well, then we're going to go ahead and stick with annual. And if you ask us again, we are going to sue you for tort harassment. By the way, everybody, you can sue a cop for tort harassment, any politician who's bothering you for tort harassment, bylaw officers, and especially CRA officers for tort harassment. I'm the one that got that tort harassment law created for you. Please take advantage of it. Sue the hell out of these dirtbags. Is the CRA a man or a woman? Well, since they're not human beings, I don't know, they're more like talking fecal matter. That's pretty much all I've got to say about that. For anybody who wants to know which neighborhoods I would invest in, that would be a private meeting because I don't want everybody buying in the same neighborhoods, if you don't catch my drift. The wrong people. There are types of people I just don't like, Alcoholics are one of them. Don't like P3DOs, can't stand them. I'm still paying a CEBA loan for a business that I got during COVID. Is there a way around that? Yep. Sell me the corporation and the CEBA loan becomes my responsibility. To which I'm definitely going to refuse to pay, and they can chase me in the courts for it, which they've never done once. Do you contact people on WhatsApp? No. If you're talking to somebody on WhatsApp right now, or Signal, or Telegram, or in the DMs here on TikTok, or in the DMs on Instagram, you are not talking to me. That is a scammer. All right? Block them. Stop talking to them. Everything's done through my website, kevinjjohnston.com. That's why I got this $1,200 Chinese-made sign put on the wall behind me here, so you always know how to get a hold of me. Do not contact me in any other way except the website, please. All right, I got an email here. Where do you live? Panama City. If you want my home address, the answer is no. Actually, I'll give it to you for $150,000 because then I can buy another place and move. Yeah, I like money. But no, I'm not telling you what my address is. Not going to happen. All right. When was the last time that I went to Canada's Wonderland? Why does that matter? I don't know. 5 or so. Oh, thanks for the hat. Appreciate it. 5 or 6 years ago, I guess. I left Ontario in 2021, February of 2021. So it would have been probably 2020 was who cares? I have $250,000 to invest for my late father's inheritance. Crypto, man, for now. Because the market's down, it will go up, and it's safe from the CRA. If you get crypto, put it onto a hard wallet and shut the hell up about it. By the way, if you want to buy $250K of crypto in one day, you're not going to be able to do it through any of the exchanges because they mostly are using Google Play. And Google Play has limits of between $5,000 and $15,000 per day. So that's a lot of transactions you're going to have to do. If you want to turn $250K into crypto in one day, then you just simply need to contact me and I'll get it transferred for you. So what we do is we move the money into the Cayman Islands for you, convert it to US, and then just transfer you crypto to whatever your crypto wallet happens to be. And if you want to get that done, let me know through my website. In large transactions like that, you'll be talking to me directly, not on WhatsApp, but through a Zoom chat room where my office manager will send you that chat room link. And when you're talking to me, ask me to do things like pick up the mouse on my desk, or maybe fold some papers up, whatever it might be, so you know you're not talking to AI. Please do not be talking to AI. Do not be fooled by the scammers. All right. Where was I born? Downtown Toronto. Yeah, like 54 years ago. Okay. Hold on, just checking the Rumble. There's a whole bunch of questions here. Mayan Warrior. Hi, Kevin. Wondering how long we have to wait until resigning with a new company? To resign. Okay, so folks, you are allowed to resign whenever you want. This is actually that's a kind of an interesting question. I'm going to try to answer it the way I understand the question being asked. Is that if you're going to step down as the director of a corporation, you are not legally obligated to call the CRA and say, hi, I stepped down as director. Your directorship step down is the day that you step down. And just write it down in your corporate minute book. You can also swear an affidavit that you step down. Let's say this happens a lot, where people actually do step down as directors, but they don't tell anybody properly. And the CRA says, oh, director's liability, we're going to put this debt onto you now. And they're crying, like, what do I do? I said, well, we pull your minute books, and we let the CRA know you stepped down 4 years ago, 2.5 years ago, whatever it might be. The case law in Canada is clear. You are not obligated to tell anybody outside the corporation that you stepped down as director. You just have to be willing to sign an affidavit stating that you did. It is that simple. All right. What would I do if I received a $400,000 to $500,000 settlement from an old IBC MVA lawsuit? Same as I answered before. Open up an American bank account, have a money order written in your name or a certified check written in your name, and put all the money into the U.S. bank account, especially if you are a Canadian citizen. Under no circumstances would I put any of that in Canada, not now and not ever. And once your money's in the States, you now have bought yourself enough time to decide the correct way to deal with that money. All right. Kevin, what's the best way to move $3 million out of Canada into the United States, into an LLC with one partner or more than two partners? Nah, you know what? Don't put that in the States. Talk to me. I'll get you a Panamanian corporation. I'll get you a Panamanian corporate bank account, and I will get you the residency card. All that will be done within 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks, and then we can transfer the entire amount in one day and put it directly into the corporate bank account. And now you've got time. It's completely out of the reach of the CRA, 100%. You have time to decide what to do. Everybody begins to panic when they get a large amount of money. Don't panic. You know the fastest thing in the world you could do is the money goes into a Canadian bank account, get down to the bank, have a cashier's check or a bank draft in your own name created. Now all the money is inside that little piece of paper, all right? It's there. No one can take it from you. Then you go and open a bank account in a different country, the States or Panama, both are good, and put the money there. Relax. Everyone relax. You know, getting a huge boatload of money at one particular time is not a reason to go into panic mode. It's also not a reason to go car shopping, all right? Cars are a pain in the ass, especially all the new ones, all right? How many times have I heard about this where someone gets money in a court settlement or mom and dad die and they race out and they buy a goddamn car? The advice from me is you have a car, fix it, don't buy a new one. You don't need them, especially the new ones where Ford, oh my God, people, I don't think you listen to the news. The real news, not CBC, that's not news. That's propaganda crap. But I'm saying the real news, where Ford stated that they were going to run an experimental program in Canada, whereas if you were speeding, the truck would report your speeding to the local authorities and they would just mail you a ticket. Yeah. Yeah. Why would you buy a new car? No thanks. You know, here in Panama, there are car companies like BYD, you've never heard of, and Dongfeng and a few of the others. These companies, they have good cars. Everyone says China, everything in China is crap. Well, some is, but these companies down here are unbelievable. They have brand new pickup trucks here for $18,000. Yeah. And there's no tracking software in it. It's a basic truck. How much tracking software do you think they're going to put in a truck that they're selling for 18 grand? I mean, they're brand new. I'm actually going to probably grab one next week because I feel like doing some off-roading. And I haven't done that in quite some time. 18 grand for a truck. And let's assume it is Chinese crap per se. If I get 5 years of use out of an $18,000 truck that doesn't track me, come on, man. That's money really well spent. But it's not an investment, right? It's a liability. It's fun. Cars are not investments. Don't do that. Don't be stupid with your money, folks. Invest it. Don't waste it. All right. I'm being told that the volume on the microphone here might be a bit low. Is everybody on YouTube experiencing a bit too low volume when I'm talking? Let me know if that's the case. I can always ramp the microphone up. Go ahead and let me know. It's a different microphone for everybody on TikTok and Instagram, so don't worry about that. Okay. Bank accounts in Panama are difficult to open unless you're using my law firm. Yeah, yes, you're right. It can be. You think it's difficult in Panama? Try opening one up in Costa Rica. Wow. It's almost like they don't want to make money. Yeah, volume's low. Okay, hold on. How's that, everybody in Rumble? Let me know if that's any better, and I can keep the volume at a higher level for everybody. All right. Where do I buy my gold? There's a really good company in Canada called silvergoldbull.com. They got good customer service. You can call them. They answer the phone. Every time I call during business hours, they answer the phone, and they answer all of your questions as well. I've had a lot of really good luck buying products from them. A lot. All right, let me check more of your questions here. Yeah, King Raven. Now, this is the real one. It's currently 9:40 p.m. Central Time on the 14th of July in the year of 2026. Yeah, I don't talk to people directly through TikTok here, folks, asking for money. So you're talking to scammers if you're talking to somebody on TikTok. If it's the show, if it's me, I can do things like pick mice up and tap it on my head. No, please don't talk to anybody on TikTok pretending to be me. I have not paid taxes or PST or GST in the last 3 years. Should I do my taxes? Well, yeah, but let me do it. I'll make sure you pay zero tax. You know, don't panic. If you haven't done your taxes in 5 or 6 years, that's not a big deal because your tax burden is going to be whatever I say it is, which is most likely going to be nothing. So chill, dude, as they say. Can you charge the CRA representatives with fraud? Yeah. And extortion, and uttering threats and intimidation, criminal trespass, criminal harassment. You can charge them with anything you want. I suggest you all start. Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. For everybody who wants to deliver postcards for me, I've got 500,000 postcards being printed next week for delivery in the Edmonton area. So if you're in Edmonton, Leduc, is it Fort Saskatchewan, Prince Albert, that entire area? Yeah, I've got to get a lot of cards delivered into those areas. So if anybody's interested in that, the delivery begins in August and goes all the way until the beginning of October. And as promised, I pay $30 an hour. There we go. Tom Brady lost millions in crypto. Well, guys, the market is down. I'm down about $600,000 in crypto because I bought some of them last year, you know, and the whole market dropped. So what did I do? I kept buying more. I kept buying more. More. When it goes back to a bull market, I'll get back the $600,000 in value plus a whole lot more because every investment that I make, everybody, is not for quick cash. I'm not some kind of house flipper flipping houses for a quick profit. You know, I'm not a garage sale guy that goes and buys people's junk and flips it the next day. I'm not looking for quick profit. I'm in it for the long haul. That's why I don't panic when things drop. The CRA sent letters to my employer to have them send money. What do? We issue a cease and desist letter to your employer right away, telling the employer that in order for them to comply within the bounds of the law, they must have a court order. The CRA never gets court orders when they're asking your employer for money. They just send a letter where they threaten the boss. And they always say, if you don't give us the money, we may get it from you. How? We may. Your boss is a scumbag if he does that. So cease and desist letters, sue the crap out of your boss. I make $4,000 a month. They're taking $2,000 from your pay. Your boss is a jerk off. He really is. So I'd have to get the legal letters written for this guy. Sue your boss, man. For everything you're losing, the pain, the suffering, punitive damages, sue the CRA in a separate lawsuit, and then let me redo your taxes, and I'll set your tax bill to zero, and then he has to stop, and then your boss has to pay you everything back. Every single bank in Canada, with the exception of 3 that I know of right now, are completely in cahoots with the CRA. If the CRA says, give us somebody's money, they absolutely will. They capitulate because the banks know that you won't sue them. But if 1 million Canadians sued the bank this week, any bank, for taking their money and giving it to the CRA, the banks would stop. But, the people have to collaborate and get this done, and people don't do it. All right. Okay. No, people, I am not married. Everyone asks that every single show. I have been single for, almost 6 years now. It's cheaper this way. Okay. What do I do if a CRA representative comes to my front door? Tell them to get lost. Tell them, get out of here. Whatever you have in the way of paperwork, you can leave it in the mailbox, and you've got exactly 30 seconds to leave my property. And they'll flash a card saying that they have the right to look at your stuff. No, they don't have the right to come in your house without permission. They don't actually have the right to look at your paperwork. They tell you that you do, or that they have the right, because they're bluffing. And then just close the door, call 911. Tell them you got someone trying to break into your house. The cops will show up relatively quickly and get rid of them. I'm a dual citizen, Canada, United States. If I owe taxes in Canada, can I just move to the USA? You can live in Canada and just keep your mouth shut about the money you make. You don't have to be that elaborate. You don't have to uproot your life just because you don't feel like talking to the CRA or telling them the truth about what you make. Just shut up about what you make. But, yeah, given the choice between Canada and the USA in a Republican state, I would not live in a Democrat state at all, especially Oregon right now, then you're fine. I'd rather live there. What made you get into tax consultation? I hate the CRA. I've wanted vengeance against the CRA since I was 13 years of age, seeing what they had done to my parents, putting my mother into the nut house for a couple of weeks, and taking 1/3 of their wealth. The CRA has no business doing what they do. They are complete filth. They are not human beings in my eyes, and I'd like to see the entire institution crash. So I'm going to continue educating people to assist me in that battle. But as for tax consultation, I got tired of being a wartime journalist, and I got tired of being a podcaster in general because it doesn't pay. Let's be honest here, it really doesn't pay. And when I was living in Canada being a podcaster, I was outdoing, in 2021, my podcast, we outdid CBC, City TV, CTV, all of them, APTN. We outdid every news outlet every night of the week. That's why the Canadian government kept beating me up and stealing my property and putting me in prison. They would arrest me and let me go after a couple of days just to interfere with the show. What's the point? The tax services, it makes a lot of money. It makes a lot of money. Panamanian banks are anywhere between 3 and 7% interest. If you are going to, you can make private deals though. You can make private deals with the banks. You might actually get 12%, but you gotta have a good relationship with somebody who's got a good relationship with the banks to get that kind of money. I promise you though, in any country anywhere in the world that's paying over 8%, you gotta lock your money down for a year or two. Okay. What do I charge to taxes? Well, it's a spectrum. If it's very, very basic stuff, it could be as low as $950 per tax year. If it's exceptionally complicated for your personal taxes, it could be as high as $2,500. Really, I have to look at your tax file. Some people's taxes are real simple, and some people's are an absolute mess. Really, so I have to judge it based on what I see. Okay. Yeah, anybody who wants to deliver postcards, please let me know on my website. You got to use the contact form. Okay, I have been left my late husband's pension, but I'm taxed every time I take the money out. Why is that? Because they just do what they want. Because the CRA are not really necessarily bound by any particular criminal law. There is no what do you call that? It's a term for it. There's no law and order in Canada right now. There is no, thank you, rule of law. There is no rule of law in Canada. The courts are regrettably run by all the left-wing maniacs out there, the ones who absolutely think it's okay for grown men to walk around naked in front of kids. You have that entire institution right now in charge of the taxation system. So they're doing what they want. However, we could do a T2125 form for you and wipe out all that, get the tax back. We have to put down a lot of medical expenses and legal consultation expenses. All that can go in there too. You got to fight back, fight fire with fire. I got to do my taxes. They sent me letters calling constantly, time sensitive. Yeah, okay. They always say it's time sensitive. All right? It's that heightened rush thing. People who know how to negotiate will do that rush thing. I'll give you an idea what I'm talking about here. Sometimes, you ever get that person in your personal life or your work life where you say, hey, John, I got a question. And they say, I'm so busy right now. It's just, yeah. Anyone who pulls that crap with me is out of my life forever. I dropped a friend, like right on the spot. I know it's bullshit. You're not that busy that you can't stop, put the phone down, listen to what I'm saying to you. It goes the opposite way also, where they say, you got to sign this now. My boss is breathing down my neck. If you don't get this done now, we have to call the police. We'll have to file criminal charges against you. We're going to take your house. We'll take your car. We'll take your pets. It's panic. So whenever someone talks like that to you, just look at them. Just get the hands crossed over and just wait for their... When they're finished that stupid shit, just tell them, listen, why don't you try saying that to me again, but without the crap. Go on, no drama. Try again. And now they have no choice but to calm it all down and tell you what they really want. I'm just saying it's a tactic, people. Remember, I used to train men in how to speak publicly, in how to speak in business environments. That crap, you cannot ever allow people to do that to you. But don't scream at them. Don't throw objects at them. Just stand and stare at them and tell them that you're not going to put up with it by saying, try again. That's what they do. It's pressure to get you to fold. You know, my sweet, dear old mom, she folded to any pressure from anyone. It was repugnant actually to watch. You know, don't let your family fall for it. Don't let your elderly parents fall for it. It's all nonsense. The saying goes, there is opportunity in chaos, and if there is no chaos, create it. That's what they do. They're trained to do it. How old do you have to be to deliver postcards? I don't know. Like, if you're under 16, your parents are going to have to tell me it's okay, you know, or your legal guardian. But I don't care. If you're 16 or 12 and you want to deliver post, there's no pornography on these cards. It's advertising for tax services. So sure, you could do it. My first paper route, I was 10 years old. I don't give a shit. But as a minor, I can speak to you with your parents' permission and then get cards shipped to you. And then the way that we do it, folks, if you want to deliver cards for me, I'll tell you what the venue is. Sometimes we hand out cards at pro hockey games or pro football games. Sometimes we're just putting them on cars. Sometimes it's a big neighborhood party. The way that we do it is you get your GoPro out or you get your phone out and stick it in the pocket right there and just film yourself live to Facebook delivering. So that's your punch card. I don't really want to see the people that you're talking to or handing things out. I just would look at the video, download it, play it at like triple speed and thinking, okay, this guy did his job. Good, pay him. It is that simple. And And it's tax-free. It's not like I'm going to tell the CRA that I'm paying you to do some work for me. So you got to get taxed on that. Keep the money. Just shut up about it. All right. Yeah, knowledge is power, folks. Absolutely. Yes, I will be hitting parts of Manitoba. I'm going to be hitting every major city, folks, in Canada. Just a matter of we have to kind of time it with select events that are taking place in those cities. Postcards, well, would be shipped right to your front door once we know you're serious about it. I'm not going to spend money on postcards and shipping to have them get tossed in the garbage. You know, if you're a blue-haired Antifa type with, you know, an F Trump shirt or something on, we're not working together. I know you're not serious. I'm not going to send a damn thing over. Or if you're some guy, you've got this like 6-foot-tall bong in the background when we're doing the interview, I'm not hiring you either, all right? Think about that. If you're just a regular schmo, you want to make some extra cash, right, you're in. You're in. And who's he here? Oh, the end of the month consultations. No, we cut the program. I'll tell you why. Because I got a cheaper program for you all. All right, you're going to love this. Come August, for $88.88 a month, you're going to be able to join my website as a membership. What will happen is I'm going to have a couple, maybe 2 or 3 of these private sessions where you come in, everybody gets to see me in a private room. It's not going to be broadcast to the public, where you get to ask personal questions. There's going to be you getting content before the rest of the world does. There's going to be credits that you get that go towards legal letters and some of our services. Big discounts on taxes. Like the $88 is going to be quite the savings for you. And it's going to be better than dropping $250 for the group consultation. So we're going to be doing a lot more for you with that. And on top of that, we're going to be giving away cash. That's right. There's going to be cash prizes, and only members of the website will be eligible, because this is not Canada that I'm standing in right now. This is Panama. And I'm allowed to run raffles just so long as I don't give the money to anybody inside of Panama. Weird how that works, but hey, no problemo. All right. Okay, there's a couple silly questions here about my personal life I will not be answering. There we go. Okay, Fit Chick, Vancouver's going to be, Vancouver's definitely one of our locations for that. And Mayan Warrior, Kevin, you should look into getting a team of clippers so you can go viral on multiple accounts. Well, that is exactly what I started advertising today. I would love to have 10,000 clippers out there. In fact, if you go to my X account, folks, don't forget to follow me on x.com. It's just KJJ Tax, real simple. You'll see that I put an ad out there looking for clippers. So if anybody out there wants to be a clipper, which is you downloading this 2-hour show and then clipping it into shorter versions, then you'll get paid per 1,000 views that your clipped video gets. So I would love to have 10,000 people clipping my videos who are not scammers, who want to make money. Clipping is incredible. It goes incredibly well. I used to do something similar to it about 8 years ago. It wasn't called clipping back then, and it wasn't quite clipping in the modern sense, but it did pay. Now, it's become a trend, and as a trend, you get paid for doing it. I pay you directly. Alrighty. Have a look here. Okay, I'm not answering any more crypto questions, guys. We did a lot of crypto tonight here, so. Portfolio construction with investment. This one's a good one. What risks concern you more today? Inflation, deflation, recession, or sovereign debt? Well, none of this scares me because I'm prepared for it. But inflation is terrifying. I think we covered this before. I mean, I was kind of cracking a joke, but not really. When I moved to Calgary in 2021, I remember gas stations. You can always compare. If you compare junk food prices, then you know you've got something wrong in society. So in Calgary, you might all remember this. They had the 2 big bags of Doritos. You shouldn't eat them. I freaking love them. But you can get 2 bags for $6. They had these big red stickers, 2 for $6. And then by the time I actually left Calgary and Canada in 2023, One bag was $9.99 at the grocery store. So when junk food climbs that much, you know there's something wrong with it. That's a lot of inflation. Then you've got deflation, which is the Canadian dollar just not worth as much. It's garbage. It's toilet paper now. And then you've got sovereign debt. Well, fiat currencies always crash. Usually when a currency comes into existence, they last for between 75 and 125 years before they crash and have to be rebuilt into something new. Now, somehow the Canadian and American dollars have both hung on much longer, which means they're due for a crash. That doesn't terrify me. A lot of people are going to lose their houses when that happens, though. I mean, I'm going to feel bad for them, but at the same time, not really, because if I can learn this stuff, so can you. And if I can change my entire life, so can you. You got to remember, everybody. Everyone says to me, oh, Kevin, it's easy, you're wealthy. See, yeah, well, hold on, though. Just a second here. I was flat broke in Canada, and I mean broke. The Canadian government had taken everything from me. I was on welfare, $950 a month, because I had a court order stating that I was not allowed to have a job. Could you imagine living in a country where a judge says, I don't want you to have any money so that you can build any kind of resistance against the courts or against the country. So I am ordering you not to have a job. You must be on social assistance. I had to make a phone call to the Alberta Welfare Office, I forget what it's actually called, to say, hey, listen, I got a court order here. I'm going to take a picture and email this to you. You got to put me on welfare. Now, in Alberta, it's really easy to get. All they wanted me to do was show them a bank account that was kind of empty. And my bank account was really empty. It had like $9 in it. So they gave me welfare. But that's Canada. I was broke. I had nothing to my name. My rent in Calgary was $1,000 a month. I was $50 a month short on my rent, which meant I had to do dishes and clean bathrooms in the house to make up for not being able to pay rent. How pathetic is that? It's ridiculous. You know, a guy with my skill set should not be on welfare. But the judge wrote the order. And eventually, I said, the hell with this, I'm done. This country can rot, I'm out. Got in a plane. Got in a plane with my last $950 Canadian on me. I got my welfare check, and I left. I even had to borrow money for the plane ticket, just for the record. I did pay the guy back with interest, but I became a millionaire in just the last 2.25 years. I became a millionaire from April of 2024 until today. In that span, I became a millionaire in Panama, not in Canada. So what I'm saying to you folks here is, don't sit there and tell me that it's easy for me to do this shit because I'm wealthy. I had to leave my homeland. I had to get away from the left-wing nuts and the violence and then the stupidity and the dead economy to be able to do what I've done now. And I'm telling all of you out there, look, I'm trying my very best to help you. I really am. I have no obligation to do this show for free. But I do it for free because I'd like to see everybody out there get some kind of a fair chance, at least to understand the system enough to try to win within it or to try to leave it. And the only way to win in the Canadian system is not to play by their rules and not to pay tax. And there you go. SR says Carney dropped another $900 million to Ukraine. Where's your money going? It's going to a warlord and then redistributed to all their friends. It's all money laundering. They're taking it from you and trying to make you feel guilty on the phone, saying, give us more, so that Mark Carney and his husband can give it away to countries that don't deserve it. What exactly is Zelensky doing fighting Russia anyway? What exactly is that war about? Does anybody know? I can tell you that it might be, and I'm only going to say might because this is only the story that we've heard, is that Russia got complaints from people in the Ukraine and Crimea who consider themselves Russians. They wanted Crimea to become part of Russia again. Is that true? We don't know. Did Putin go in there and build a bridge to Crimea so he could take it over, specifically because Russian citizens asked him to? Maybe, maybe not. But what's the war really about? This little piece of land called Crimea? Or is it money laundering? Do you think maybe a lot of people are getting really, really, really rich off of this? It's obvious. Follow the money. It's always the money. Russia lost money on the deal because they had to build the bridge. Yeah? Ukraine's making money because Canada's giving it to them. You're giving them money. Stay out of world politics, man. Just stay away. Hey, pocket your money. Make me your tax guy. Never pay tax again, and you're going to be fine. Question. Have you been trying to get a hold of me on WhatsApp? No, that's a scammer. No, no, no. I do not. Oh, my God. Okay, guys. When I make sales phone calls, I do it from a phone number in my office, and I'm calling companies that make millions of dollars a month. I am not soliciting people through WhatsApp. I'm not soliciting people through direct messaging or through chat rooms on TikTok or Rumble or Instagram or anywhere else. No, Diana, you're talking to a scammer. Block them. I have one official TikTok channel, Real Kevin J. Johnston. The rest are scams or clippers. The clippers are not trying to scam you. They're trying to put you to this website here. The scammers are trying to get you to pay them money. Don't do it. It's not me. Obviously, it's not me. I'm live right now. I've been live for 2 hours, 1 minute, and 21 seconds at this particular point. So it's obviously not me talking to you on WhatsApp. Please block them right now. Just talk to me through my website. No other way. Okay, actually, here's a good point there. SR says, funny thing, there's hardly any footage of this so-called war. Well, there was back at Christmas time. It was downtown Kiev, and everybody was at nightclubs having a good time. That's the footage that I saw. There's no real war going on. There's just skirmishes here and there, and a whole lot of money laundering. Yeah, Doug says this channel is real, the real deal, but man, there's a lot of imposters. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, my message has gotten out a lot stronger, faster, and better than even I thought that it had. So there are people, scammers, losers, criminals, utilizing my name. Now, I've complained to TikTok many times. I've given them a full list of over 200 of these scam channels. They do nothing about it. But if I came out here and cracked the wrong kind of joke, they would shut me down. And the truth is, guys, there's so much more information and truths that I want to tell you, but I have to be extremely careful what I say on TikTok because they shut you down for no reason whatsoever. It's kind of bizarre. It is really bizarre. Let me check a few of the other rooms here. Okay. Oh, here's a good question. Why do you make so many racist statements on TikTok? Well, it's not racist statements that I make. I just tell the truth about what I happen to know about the particular subject matter. All right? So I got a whole bunch of people emailing me saying I'm a bad man because I explained to everybody that consulting Indian chiefs, the guys who wear the feathers, on any business deal in Canada is fruitless and foolish because they don't do business at all. Right? The natives, they're on their reserves, and the chiefs get millions of dollars every single month from the country, and they don't do anything with it. So they're getting all that free money that they don't do anything with. Why are they coming to the table to negotiate anything on building highways and infrastructure and money-making projects? I did say I don't go to freeloaders when I want advice on business, and I don't ask permission of those who don't run a business for anything to do with business. I don't go to the wrong people for advice. I certainly do not go to 500-pound people to learn how to lose weight. I'm not going to do it. And I won't go to a smoker to learn how to be healthy. I certainly will not be going to an alcoholic for any particular advice on how to maybe cut down on my chocolate eating. It's not going to happen. I go to the pros. That is what I said. That's not racist. It's factual. So why did I say that? Because I am not interested in hearing any more about everyone saying, poor me, look at me, I'm of a different skin color, feel sorry for me. And by the way, I haven't earned anything, but make me part of your business negotiations and pay me lots and lots and lots and lots of money for it. No, man, absolutely not. I don't care who you are. If you're lazy, I'm going to call you out for it. That ain't racist. It's just facts. All right. Now, by the way, I also say these things on X.com because Elon Musk lets me, and he lets you do it too. Jack Dorsey's no longer in the picture. The left-wing freaks who used to run X, they're not there anymore. They all went over to Threads and Blue Sky. Good. Blue Sky's a joke, man. You want the biggest crybabies in the world are there. Nobody has ever run a business who's on blue sky, right? They're all welfare cases, every single one of them. Yeah. Okay. Kayla Do, how did I become a millionaire? The show is almost over, so that's something you'd probably have to grab yourself a consultation for. But busting my hump in a brand new country every day, 12, 13, 14 hours every day. I've taken less than 35 days off in the last 2.5 years. It's just how it is, right? You want to be rich? You got to work really, really hard. Yes. And simultaneously, really, really smart. You got to know your stuff, you got to up your game, and you got to up your skill set every single day. You don't stop practicing. You just don't stop practicing. You don't stop learning. And yes, Rocco is correct. I worked my ass off. I'm still doing it now. I got here this morning at 7:30 a.m. It's Central Time. It's now 10:08 p.m., and I'm still in the office. I haven't been to the gym yet, so as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to the gym, get a bit of iron pumped, and do a bit of a jog, and shower up, hit the sack, and repeat. I'll be at the office again tomorrow at probably 7:30. I'm pretty sure that I'll be in the office until 7 or 8 o'clock at night tomorrow. Wednesday, what I can say is there's a great burger joint down the place. They have 3-for-1 hamburgers on Wednesday nights. So at some point, I will make sure that I get out of here before 10 p.m. so I can indulge in one of those burgers, possibly 2 of them. I can't eat 3. So if any of you were down here, I'd give you the burger. I should run for prime minister, clean up the country, and make it fair and honest. Man, would I ever love to tell you the truth about the only way that I could possibly win prime ministership. But the RCMP wouldn't like it. You know what'll happen. CBC, Kevin J. Johnston said this. That's what they'll do. And everyone's going to make a big deal out of it, and so on. And the RCMP might even send someone down here to talk to me in person, which, of course, I'd go live. If the cops ever sent someone to Panama to discuss with me my bad attitude, I'd make sure that they understood that my attitude's not that bad until a member of the Canadian government's in the room with me, in which case my attitude turns into complete crapola. And I'd be live on TikTok, putting the camera 3 inches from the guy's face, having some fun. All righty. Show Moran says, I want to come see you in Panama. My business partner is there too. Fabulous. Yeah. Panama's got amazing food. In fact, even the crap restaurants have better food than Canadian restaurants do. I'm ecstatic to be here, man. Panama has been very good to me. It's a good life. I just wish the country advertised what it has more so than it does. In fact, it doesn't really advertise at all. How many times have you seen a come to Panama billboard anywhere in Canada? Costa Rica, that country sucks. It has nothing to offer, but they have advertised in every single mall all over North America. So they still have a lot of Americans and Canadians going there. But if you go to Costa Rica with anything less than $700,000, you're not going to make it. Like, you'll be broke in 6 months. Costa Rica just takes your money and gives you nothing for it. Panama, they'll invite you to spend your money, but they're not going to take it from you. And your money goes a long way here. All righty. We've got a couple more questions here. So these are really good questions tonight. I had my guys go into TikTok and whatnot and grab them, but it appears that a lot of these questions are kind of similar. A lot of you are asking me about estate planning and about multi-generational wealth and so on. If you want to see the replay of this show, simply type in thetaxandmoneyshow.com. And the replays are there. That's going to take you to my Rumble channel, to which there's 7 years worth of videos there for you to enjoy. There we go. What's the question here? Should you set up a corporation or a private foundation in Panama? Foundations are really good. They act kind of like a trust. They're a not-for-profit corporation that you can put another corporation inside of. And that's exactly how you do it. So if you have a condo or a house or a farm or something in Panama, make sure it's owned by a corporation. Thank you for the hat, Sweet Pea. I appreciate that. Make sure it's in a numbered corporation, a named corporation here. They don't do numbers here. And then make sure that corporation is owned by your foundation. And yes, for the replay, folks, The Tax and Money Show. and you'll get over there. Sign up. In fact, Rumble, it's a really good platform, but it has like maybe 6 million subscribers to the entire website. Get on over there, subscribe to it. Follow me there, please. And if you're on X, follow. If you're on TikTok, subscribe, follow. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when my next video pops up. Get everything out there. By the way, I got about 4 or 5 minutes left here. Right there. 30,000 views? Unacceptable. Come on. Everyone on TikTok. Boom, 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 boom. 2 fingers. Get it going. Let's get the hearts right there. Let's get them lifting on the screen there. Let's see if we can get 10,000 likes in just 5 minutes here. Let's get that rocking. How much do I charge to get me a residence visa in Panama? So it's actually not a visa. Technically it's a visa, but you get the card right away. So what we do, it's a package deal. We register a corporation for you. The corporation will then have a bank account, so now you can put your money here in Panama and it's safe. And then we do the residency simultaneously. The corporation and the bank account, thanks for the sparklers, will be between 2 and 5 days. The total package is between 10 and 14 days. That gets you the residency as well, the Friendly Nations residency card. And that is $79.95 US for the entire package, all done by my law firm. And my lawyers here speak English. Very, very good English, in fact. So that should help. And most law firms are charging about $5,000 just for the residency, and then they charge another $5,000 for the corporation. So I'm somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 cheaper than the law firms. I'm not here to rip people off. I mean, I like making money, but I'm certainly not going to make you go into debt and get bank loans for my services. That's ridiculous. And I would rather see Canadians here in Panama because everybody who comes here is just so much happier and richer. It's just how it is. All right. What if the CRA freezes your account? What do? We issue a warning to the bank to unlock it. We demand that the bank show a court order. They will not because they never get court orders. And then we file a lawsuit 10 days later against the bank for tort theft and tort fraud. And then we just grab all the business cards, or you'll have to do it, but you grab every business card of everybody who works in that branch, and we charge all of them. We file theft charges against all of them. Meanwhile, we file an objection to the CRA and we redo your taxes so that your tax bill gets wiped out, and the CRA has no choice but to lift that requirement to pay that they send to the bank, and the bank has no choice but to unlock your bank account. Best thing in the world you can do, folks, the second you get one letter from the CRA, drain your bank account. Get a Wise card, get a Coho account, have cash, have crypto. Do not have money in Canadian banks. They're pathetic. Like I told you all at the beginning of the show, I now officially have less than $4,000 in all of my bank accounts. I've got a lot of bank accounts in Canada, but between all of them, less than $4,000. I moved everything to Panama and I bought crypto, which of course will come back to me in spades. Okay. When am I starting my sales team? I've got a huge sales team, guys. Like, we got over 30 sales reps now. So if you want to sell, the commissions I pay are absolutely unbelievable. I've been called crazy by everyone that I know because I pay really high commissions. But I pay really high commissions because I want you making sales. I give you money, that means you made me money. I love money. Absolutely love money. God, I love that. I love money. Oh, and for the young men out there, don't waste your money spending it on chicks, okay? Just don't do that. It doesn't help. Don't chase tail. Chase success. Success starts with you. Fill your head with knowledge. Read books about economics and whatnot, but all the ones that were written before the 1990s, okay? Because they weren't left-wing in their approach. You know, when everybody writes a book now, when societies are crumbling, you can always tell when the genders are confused and everybody's writing a book. And not everybody should be writing books, man. There's a lot of dumb people out there that produce a lot of crap. So read stuff before the 1990s, before the internet made it easy to put together books out there. And then go to the gym. And if you have the wherewithal, learn how to fight. You know, not from some stupid karate club that gives out belts. Like, you think that because you've got a belt that's black on your hip that you know how to fight? My God, no. You got to go to the guys who are underground, man. You pay them cash and get them to teach you. Learn how to shoot. Now, right now, because I'm a resident of Panama, I'm allowed to buy as many firearms as I want, and I can walk around with buckets. I could walk down the street with buckets full of bullets. Now, I wouldn't be able to carry it because that's pretty heavy, but I blow about 1,000 to 2,000 bullets a month practicing. So I shoot the bullets. I shouldn't have said that. But, I fire them off because I want to stay sharp at what I do. Men, especially the young men out there, chase you, fix you, fill your head with knowledge, make money. The ladies, they'll chase you. All right, that's just how it is. All right, next. Can I name some books? Yes, How to Make Friends and Influence People by Carnegie. You want to read The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. You want to read the follow-up book, The Art of Seduction, by the same guy, plus the follow-up book called The 50th Law, where 50 Cent, the rapper, works with Robert Greene and tells his crazy story about crime and hustling and whatnot. These are amazing books to read. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's all right. It's got okay advice. It's not phenomenal. Just one more I'm missing here. Oh, yeah, of course, The Art of War, Sun Tzu, The Art of War. It's a short book. You can probably read that one in about an hour. You definitely want to read that one, though, and then go through it. And try your very best to think of everything Sun Tzu said about winning wars and battles and put that into your personal life. Try that. And as for the advice that I would give to anybody out there, write down all your friends' names, all right? Good friends, bad friends, rank them as best friend being 10 and friend at 1. And then start to write down how many times they cost you money versus how many times they made you money. And write down how many times they've asked you to help them with ridiculous projects that burned up a whole weekend, or ridiculous times that they borrowed money from you and never paid it back. And start to make a complete analysis of everybody in your personal life. And then cut everybody out who's done an 8 or better. Just get rid of them. It's sad that we have to say goodbye to people, but we have to, in many cases, terminate relationships because those relationships are holding us back. All right, folks? So that's my advice. I could probably write a whole 1,600-page book on that, but I'm telling you, you got to write this down. If your friends are burning up a lot of your time because they have all kinds of problems all of the time, they're not a friend. They're a leech. They're holding you back. Don't let your friends hold you back. Okay. All right. Yeah, like Fight Club. Yeah, that's. I'd like to be in a Fight Club. Not really though. I can't take any more blows to the head. I love boxing, folks. I really do. I enjoy full contact fighting, but I've had 3 major concussions, and I like thinking, so I can't get rattled in the head anymore. I've done it way too many times. Tanya, good question. When my house sells and my deceased husband's debts are paid, do I? Whoa. Okay, I'm glad you asked me that, but holy shit. Why would you be thinking? Why are you thinking that way? That's the question I've got for you. Why would you think you got to pay your husband's debts? If your husband truly has passed away, the debts go with them if you play your cards right. I'll tell you this right now. I am not paying any dead man's debts or dead woman's debts. It doesn't matter who they are. And it doesn't matter what contracts they had. And it doesn't matter whose feelings are going to get hurt. It's not my contract. It's not my problem. It's the same idea of, I've had people, so-called friends say, hey, if I die, could you do this and this and this and this and that? Dude, for real. Are you leaving me half your house in the will so I can sell it and spend that money on the fuel and the time? I'm not running errands for you. I'm not, no. Now, as for the CRA here, how do you think they would get the money to clear out your husband's debts? I'll answer that question for you. If you utilize a lawyer to hold the funds in their trust company, the lawyer will just go, yep. He'll take your money and give it to whoever asks for it. All right? Bad idea. What I did is I opened up a trust company in Toronto. If you're selling your house, Tanya, you put your money in my trust company, and I promise you this, I'm paying none of your husband's debts. He's gone. It sucks that he's gone. but I'm not paying the debts. Then what we do is get all the paperwork corrected and let the CRA know if you've told them he's dead. I have to write a letter off saying, hello, CRA, how you doing? The executor had to step down because the executor has, I don't know, brain cancer, spinal tumor, I don't know, parachute didn't open, whatever it is. And that if you don't mind, we're going to take 120 days to find legal counsel to address this properly. Thank you very much for your understanding. And they have no choice. They have to accept that. So when someone dies in your household, first off, shut the fuck up about it. Keep that secret. The other thing would be, make sure that you didn't tell the CRA. You don't do any paperwork for the CRA, and you got to stay away from lawyers. They're vultures, all of them. Don't make decisions when you have tears in your eyes. Just calm it down. I said earlier in the show tonight, take the 3 days to grieve, stop talking, don't look for sympathy on the internet, fix your affairs. Got to get all that done. I always report a dead person's taxes 3 to 5 years after death. That way we have you, the executor of the will, the executor of the estate. You've taken all the money out, you step down as executor, and then the CRA can't do a damn thing. Period. Tanya, make sure I'm your tax guy, because that's a problem I'd love to solve for you. My parents sold their share of a hockey team. Do they really have to declare that? It was in a court. No. Tell your folks to shut up and go to Florida and have a good time. But get the money out of Canada. And make sure they have no house in their name. It has to be in a numbered corporation. What hockey team would they have sold? Was it Major Junior A? Let me know what team it was. Can we talk about Fight Club in here? Well, if you want to create one, you do the work, bro. I've got enough things to keep me busy here. All right. Where is a great place to stay in Panama for a vacation to check out the vibes? Well, you want to stay a couple of days at least, maybe 3 or 4 days in Panama City and go and see all the tourist traps you can. You definitely want to make sure you see how the canal functions. It's awesome. Head out to Coronado. It's not a really great town, but it's interesting to see what volcanic style beaches look like with the really dark black sand. The better food, though, is in Panama City. Go to Playa Blanca because they've got the second biggest pool in the Western Hemisphere there. The pool is okay. It's pretty cool to see. But the beach there is awesome. And the food is great. It's $50 for a whole day. All you can eat and drink from 6 a.m. right through until midnight. Pretty good resort. You definitely want to get over to Buquete. Buquete is where the volcano is, Volcan Baru. It's 12,200 feet high. I climbed it in 7.5 hours, and believe me, that's one hell of a climb. I was asleep by 5 o'clock that night, and I mean out cold. These are things you want. You want to go to Bocas del Toro on the northwest side, check it out, to see what it's like when all the Europeans who don't speak English show up to party, pass out drunk. It's Bocas del Toro. If you opened the hotel up there and served half-price liquor, you'd be a millionaire in about 3 weeks. It's crazy how many people go to Bocas del Toro. Yeah, check it out, man. You definitely want to see it. Yeah, it's unfortunate that boxing is not what it used to be. Now, it's weird now. And I'm 54. Do I really want to get in the ring with some guy who's 25 who's been boxing full-time since he was 18? The answer is no. No, I do not. You know, if I was getting into boxing now, it would be for a workout. Strictly. Why? I work the heavy bag, but it's for exercise. That's about it. I'm glad I have the skill, but no, I do not want to get into a ring with a 25-year-old. Period. Okay. How long does it take for someone to get a response from the website? Could be a day, could be 3 days, somewhere in that range. But if it's select categories, so for example, if you're selling a corporation, those are real emergencies, so those ones get answered within a day. But if you're someone who's going to try to skip to the front of the line by saying you have a corporation and you don't, we'll say, hey, no problem. Back of the line, we're going to go to the corporation stuff first, because those corporate debts are just absolutely killing people. Please don't be a jerk. Okay. So Tanya says there's liens against your house. Okay, Tanya, that's reflecting back to your husband who passed away. Liens against the house, things like mortgages, sure, no problem. You got to pay the mortgage. But if it's just liens, we have to make sure that the liens are legal. There's a lot of times that there's scam liens on the house. And let's say someone puts a lien on your house, they still have to perfect the lien. They have to sue you within between 30 and 90 days, depending which province you're in, and they have to win the lawsuit for the lien to be valid. Otherwise, we just file a motion and get rid of the lien. Yeah, so you don't want to be paying liens on a house just because someone put it there. Now, I've got a couple of enemies, really awful people, in fact. I have liens on their property. Now, I've perfected them, though, by suing them. So those liens are going to stay. But if the person did not perfect the lien, then we can get rid of it. And I don't pay liens unless the person can prove that it's legitimate. All right, how do you switch home ownership without repercussions? We just transfer the title. Register the corporation, write the corporate bylaws, transfer title. There's no repercussions to transferring a house into a corporation. British Columbia is the only place that's going to ask you to pay the tax. Every other province, you just do a transfer. If I have a large amount of money coming into my account, like 1 million plus, will the CRA bother me if it comes to my personal account? Not right away. They will definitely get flagged because those maniacs at FinTrack will get notification that you had the $1 million. And if FinTrack were to contact you saying, where's the money from? You say, call my lawyer and fungu. Hang up the phone. But that's your cue. Get the money out. So if the money goes in your personal account, like I said earlier in the show, go to the bank, get a bank draft for the entire amount, leave $1,000 in there to keep the bank account open. And that way, when you go down to the United States and open a bank account in your name, you can put that money order in. That's how you do it. Okay, everybody. Oh, hold on. Tom, you guys owned an OHL club? Yeah, I know the OHL well. I did graphic design for Brampton Battalion when they came in the league. I did a lot of marketing for those guys. We did a lot of voiceovers back in the infancy of the internet. If you remember that logo for the kids wear, where the miniature version of Sarge was drinking a baby bottle, I designed that logo for those guys. I did a lot of work. Roger Abbott owned that team, the guy that invented, one of the inventors of Trivial Pursuit. Yes, so the OHL, I love OHL hockey because those kids are trying to become pros. It's great hockey to watch. Am I still buying corporations? Absolutely, Carly, 100%. If you live in British Columbia, you pay more tax than you should. That place is a left-wing dump. It's gorgeous, but you know the left-wing nuts have just ruined it. You can't make money in BC, folks. It's crazy. I wouldn't live there. CRA sent a requirement to pay letter to my employer. They're taking 30% of my pay. Yeah, because your employer is a scumbag, coward, loser, jerk-off who doesn't care about anyone but himself. Absolute loser. The requirement to pay letter that employers get, this is the last point and I got to go, but the requirement to pay letter says that you are required, which is a request, not a lawful command, to give us XYZ amount of money from your employee. And if you don't, we may hold you accountable. And of course, your boss goes, oh my God, this CRA is going to hold me accountable. I'm a loser. I'm a 48-year-old virgin. And your employer steals money from you and gives it to them without a court order. Sue the boss. Sue the entire corporation. But when I redo your taxes and set them to zero, then your boss will get the cancellation of requirement to pay, still sue the son of a bitch, and sue the CRA. You guys, you got to go on the attack. You absolutely have to go on the attack at all times. And if you are an employer out there and you take money from your staff because the CRA sends you a letter, you are a coward and a scumbag, and you deserve to be out of business. Don't be a piece of shit. It is very difficult to find good people to work for you. And if you've got an employee who shows up on time, does the job, even 80% as well as you expect, and doesn't leave early, doesn't call in sick all the time, doesn't steal from you, doesn't swear at your customers, you got a pretty good staff member there. But you're still going to take their money, aren't you? Because you're gutless. The CRA cannot take your stuff if you refuse. All you have to do is send off a letter saying, thank you, we acknowledge that you sent us this letter, but you have offered no evidence that my staff member owes any money, and this is not a court order. If you send this letter again, we will file a lawsuit and we will file criminal charges. Be a man for the first time in your life, you gutless snake. All right, let's go. That's the lecture is over. Wow, everyone. Great questions tonight. Lots of great interaction. Keep in mind, if you own a business anywhere in Canada, you got to get me to do your payroll for you, because you don't pay me to do your payroll. I pay you 10% of your source deductions right back in your pocket as investment capital. And the same thing, if you collect GST or HST, I give you every single month 30% cash back on all the GST and HST that you're collecting from your clients. And I also guarantee you that you never pay tax again. I am the #1 tax guy in Canada for a reason. If you're running a company and you want 30 points back on your GST, HST, and 10 points back on your payroll, website right now, kevinjjohnston.com. Let me know you're serious about making money, and I'll make that dream come true. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Tax and Money Show that runs every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the taxandmoneyshow.com. You want to be rich? I'm your guy. Thank you. I love you all. And good night.